What's up, everybody? Welcome back. It is another episode of Firing Order brought to you by Vyper Industrial. This is the show where we get into extremely nuanced arguments about random rankings of things in the car world, and we try to stay friends through the end. Today, we've got my co-conspirator, Ron Zaras, as well as GridLife co-founder, Chris Stewart, to rank the top 5 budget track day cars. Let's get into it. If you grew up reading Hot Rod and not GQ, you're probably more of a hat and hoodie person, which means your sunglasses likely match that look. But this past weekend, my wife said we had somewhere fancy to go. So I dusted off the button down she got me for Christmas. But when I went to go grab my laser faces, I got that look. Thankfully, Heatwave saved my ass with their new Nimitz. It's an elevated take on the classic Aviator, stylish and functional. So if you need to class it up a little, my friends at Heatwave got you covered from track day to date night. Heatwavevisual.com. Some people are extremely organized. Super sorted workbenches, garages, and lives. I am not that person. I'm a mess. Luckily, Wera can help. When you buy their toolkits, they offer matching foam inserts. Maybe it's a mental condition of mine, but there's something about an empty slot that just screams at me to go find that missing 10 millimeter before it vanishes forever. Plus, the inserts fit perfectly into Wera's stainless steel rolling cabinets, which come both in regular and double XL. For those of you like myself who collect tools. Go check them out at weratools.com. You boys ready for this?
I'm ready.
Yeah, you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's do it.
You don't look as ready as the two of us.
Yeah, because y'all got notebooks. Like every time, and they're not just notebooks; they're gridded notebooks. And I'm not gonna make the same joke. Chris is about the grid life.
Yeah, that's why you made it anyway. You made it anyway.
The one dude at the table who's not a dad.
That's right.
Just ripping dad jokes.
Yeah.
You think he's trying to fit in?
That I know of.
Yeah. Look, before we get into this, Ron and I just enjoy the artistry of debate and just argument. So we're here for that purpose alone. But you actually run race series. This is your profession. We're maybe spectators on it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely deep in the weeds.
Yeah. I mean, I said it in the intro, but for those who don't know, what have you been doing for the past decade of your life?
So I am Chris Stewart, and I am the founder of GridLife. So I've been facilitating track time in competition and other forms in a variety of places all over the country for the last 10 years.
I like that you use the word facilitating. I think when you use it, you have to follow it with I've been facilitating bad decisions.
Yeah, I'm a behind the curtain kind of guy. So
providing the arena.
I've been puppeteering, kind of puppeteering the environment for competition and track day culture to happen.
Yeah, and I think that's a super interesting thing too, because your passion is in racing and track cars and all that, and you could see that because GridLife didn't really have to be that, right? The combo of a music festival and a drift event and just Time Attack is cool, but you guys have much more than just Time Attack.
I have told him so many times that he would be so much more successful if he cared less about racing.
Well, sure. But I love the fact that you make that happen, and the people that are there are lifelong fans because of that.
Yeah, I mean, it follows my own journey, right? So I had a CRX. I started to get into kind of the track inspired builds, and then turned it into actually a track car, and that was my journey. So GridLife's built around my automotive story, for the most part. Because
that's really cool.
Yeah.
One of the cool things I think now is you've actually offered a lot of other series for people to build cars for and come compete, right? You guys started with Time Attack, but then you've expanded. And talk about what are some of the series you've got going on?
Yeah, so we've got we've got a ton now. So Time Attack is the bread and butter. That's the core, right? So that's 7 classes. So Club SC, Club TR, all that kind of moving up. So you can build like kind of any car that you like, any car that you love, and find
It's
like a
the
place
run
for
what
it.
you brung, and there's a category.
That's
for it.
awesome.
And there's a category for it. It's become like wildly competitive. So people have like figured out like they're math in the rule book, and like it's real, right? So
Sure.
it's a pretty professional grassroots series at this point, you know. But outside of that, so we've got GLTC, so that's a GridLife touring car. So that's a 12.5 to 1 power to weight ratio kind of math rule book, and that's wheel to wheel racing. So first to the finish line.
Yeah.
You know, so where time attack is like you're competing for the fastest lap, right?
Yep.
And then newest series, like kind of in that portfolio of things from us, is GLGT. So GLGT is 8.5 to 1, so faster. Same structure, same run, what same build the car you love, but faster, right? So and that runs in the same format as GLTC. And then we have the Rush series. So Rush is a really cool kind of spec racer. And that runs similar too, right? So that's in the series as well.
What's the spec?
So they're factory built cars.
Have you seen
right?
the Rush cars?
Yeah.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, so
like
they're-
Nate Hamilton, Grant,
Yeah.
like all those guys that have been
Yeah,
racing
yeah.
those things. That's cool.
Yep, yeah. So that's our only spec series.
That's
right?
cool.
You know, so
The Fit thing wasn't really a spec series. It was just that Fit was the most for that class or whatever that was.
the Honda Fit.
Club SC.
Yeah, right. Fit was just the best car in that. So it made it look like it was a Fit spec series.
But right. So it started as spec Fit, right? And that was kind of a joke.
so it did start as spec Fit.
But not really. It was a joke title, right?
Okay,
So the reason that even became a part of GridLife, right? So like I always make the comment like, what does GridLife do? It does what the community wants, right? So like we build things, like we built it together with the drivers and with the community, right? So like a lot of the classes and a lot of the things are crafted with the thinking of like what the community wants, what they're doing already, right? So the behavior that spawned what was spec Fit, which then became Sunday Cup, is now Club SC, which stands for Club Sunday Cup or Club Slow Car.
Yeah, which is like the Gran Turismo classic.
Yeah, however you want to digest
entry-level
it.
race.
It's because a lot of our instructors, when we had more track day type stuff in GridLife, when their race cars broke, they brought their dailies.
Yo, I love that.
And they're not going to not shred them,
Dude, that's like the birth of the Dodgy Bomb.
I was just going to say that's Dodgy Bomb because they would
so
say
same
they
idea.
all happened to
Motorcycle
have
brakes,
Honda
yeah,
Fits.
the van.
So then they were all just like ripping their fits, and then they
Sick.
started, going bumper to, like nose to bumper.
I love that.
in the advanced session, with these slow
and
cars.
that's how diesel truck racing started
Yeah.
as well. Was
Yeah.
like
Really?
guys would go drag racing, they'd blow their car up, but like they would be like, all right, I'll pull out my Cummins and run my Cummins down the hill, and I'll race my buddy who brought his
Yeah.
Cummins,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden they're
it's so
running like
great.
eights.
And there's obviously like B spec, and that stuff that comes from kind of the SCCA club world and those types of things. But like in our environment, like Fits became popular because like that's what started it. It's just like my track day car is broken. I'm just gonna rip this daily.
And what I really like about what you guys are doing, I took a look at one of your rule books last night just to like refresh, and it's you have such specifics like a power band width factor that takes percentages away, but then like 6 lines later is like your car has to look cool.
Yeah.
Like the cooler your car looks, the more camera time you'll get.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, this rule book is
I didn't know.
sick.
So the two of us, like Ron and I, have had the conversation about one of the big issues that rally racing has, and I'm about to just say this in the public, is it's got an aesthetic problem. Like
Track days too.
very few rally cars look cool.
Yeah.
Which means that you're less likely to take a photo of them and that photo end up somewhere.
Because you have a lot of guys that get in there and like they're like, I just care about performance, and I respect that.
Well, a lot of that stuff is like the community will like racers gonna race.
Absolutely.
So like a lot of those rules like come from like, yo, we really got to prevent these friends from like not being friends.
Let me translate that. Racers are gonna cheat.
Yeah,
is what he
yeah,
wants
yeah,
to
yeah,
say
yeah,
because
yeah.
you will push the limit until you can't anymore.
No, 100%, right? And they will credit card race themselves to death.
Sure.
And they will get in the mist, and it will ruin their soul.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
and it'll ruin friendships, and it'll ruin the community.
So you're
and like all that
preserving
stuff.
souls.
Yeah. So it's like there's like some defensive behavior in that too, right?
Yeah.
Like we want people to be able to be in this for a good time and a long time.
Sure.
And they'll burn themselves out if you like allow them to. And it's really hard. I mean, Adam can talk about this. I don't sit in that side of the house as much. I mean, I like contribute to it, but I don't write the rules, right? Like
Okay.
I write the culture, of like what it's supposed to do.
It is a thankless position.
Very much
When
so.
we did
time.
Gymkhana Grid,
Yeah.
we dealt with a lot of that because people just they want to be competitive and they want to find loopholes, and for some people in the sport, finding the loophole is the fun part, right? Like for the person who's helping build a car or whatever, like that's the point.
Yeah.
But so how many years have you been doing GridLife?
So GridLife started in 2014 officially, right? So a long time, decade plus, 12 years.
So you have 12 years worth of info of cars on track.
Yes, I do. I have that data. I looked at it, right?
That's crazy.
I got bar graphs. I got circle charts. I got those things. So I know.
So I
know what people are doing.
You're pretty qualified. You're more qualified than we are.
So he's bringing data, metrics. He probably has a spreadsheet.
Real numbers.
I'm going to tell you what you're up against. You're up against two guys who have spent the past 20 some odd years working in and around motorsports with no time to really do their own being in motorsports, but bench racing the shit out of a potential marketplace buy as to how we're going to, next year's the year, we're going to build that car and we're going to go compete, probably in GridLife. Yeah. So I have a lot of research done at 1 o'clock in the morning of what would be the perfect.
We have many dreams. We have many dreams.
So we're fueled on dreams. You're fueled on
data,
math, or something. Yeah. So anyway,
well, I'd call it practicality.
If you've already forgotten why we're here, we are here to debate the top 5 budget track day cars. And I think what we need to do right now is set up sort of the rules and the stipulations for what this is. So first up we have is the price. So the base car has to be bought for $15,000. And when I say base car, that means that the vehicle drives. You can go purchase it and you can drive it home. And it also has to be readily available in the United States, meaning it could be a car that's an import, but like you have to be able to easily find it. It can't be like there's only been like 15 of them imported into the US. That doesn't work. What were some of the other things we talked about? Do you remember?
Ice cream test.
Yeah.
This one's really important. So explain the ice cream test.
Yeah, so the ice cream test is you have to be able to take a friend, a significant other, your spouse to get ice cream in it. Right?
After the track.
Yeah. Well, so it was one of the rules, right? Talk about rules for the community, like that end up in our rule set. It's called the ice cream test. So in the Sunday Cup Club SC class, if you win that class, you actually have to go get ice cream.
That's so sick.
Like you have to go get ice cream and you have to bring someone with you. And like if you can't do that in your car, then that car can't win. It means you stripped it out too much. It means it doesn't have a seat, whatever.
Because we also discussed in order for this to be a proper budget car, you have to drive it to the track.
That's right.
Because one, owning a truck, also owning a trailer, and having a parking for that, there's no budget at all in that.
No,
even if you have the cheapest truck and cheapest trailer, it's not easy to have that.
I think it's a very common situation where you're just starting out, you're super into cars, but your daily driver is your only car.
That's right.
Your daily driver is going to be whatever you also have fun in. Yeah. So that's kind of the idea.
So it needs to be able to serve that purpose, right?
Yeah.
Your day, it's your daily, and you take it to the track, and it has to take the stuff that you need.
Right.
Yes.
For the track.
Yep.
The 15K does not include mods, but as we discussed, like mods have to be within reason. It can't be a car that requires a turbocharger or is like, I need to back half the whole car and to redo all the suspension or tube frame it. Like none of that works. It has to be
I would say
basic car and silhouette.
Wheels, tires, suspension, brakes. Those are the only mods you need for a track day.
That's right.
Period.
But they are required on mostly any street car ever made.
Maybe transmission. There are some cars. You don't think so?
No, that's way too far.
Yes, beneficial, right? But in order to get on the track,
actually more from a reliability part.
And actually, in order to get on the track, you just need to make sure, like, you don't even need good tires. I don't think you just need tires that aren't
delam.
That aren't going to delaminate.
But brakes,
brakes you need.
Brakes and fluid.
Brakes and fluid. Brakes and fluid.
So arguably, you should be able to go onto Marketplace right now.
Yes.
Right now.
Buy the car.
This moment.
Go pick it up. And within 1 week, as long as you had the money set aside, go to a track day.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's fair.
I like that, right?
I like it.
That works?
Yep.
That works.
By the way, if you're interested in how we came up with all of this, we did like another half-hour pre-show to the show to discuss this on Patreon, because I think we realized in the last firing order that I did with Mickey and Nads on the top JDM tuners that we probably should have had a conversation first.
Well, you did, but it's Nads, so you guys talked about everything on the planet.
We need to put in some more limitations and things like that. So, and then I think one of the other ones I think is the most important is that this is not about being competitive. It's about like bang for the buck.
Dude, for sure.
Right?
Miles per mile.
Like, it doesn't matter if you go to the track day and you get lapped on everyone, as long as like you're having a really good time and you get to keep driving and you get a lot of seat time.
I've seen it with a couple of friends of ours. Like on a track day alone, just chasing the fastest time forever, faster than anybody else, that's a race to the bottom. You're just going to make a time attack car on accident.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Whereas if you build something that just brings you joy and then you could develop yourself as a driver. The Track Day World Championship.
Yeah.
There's no prizes.
There's no prizes.
There's no prizes.
Actually,
for the
it's the opposite, because you're more likely to blow your car up.
Absolutely.
Like destroy your kids' college savings.
Where you focus on the driving, focus on like getting better with you and with the car.
Something else too on a regular track day, no one's watching you drive.
Nobody's
paying attention to the heater lap you just had.
Maybe your girlfriend that you dragged out there.
Maybe like one old dude who's like up there smoking a cigarette who like used to race 20 years ago who would smoke the shit out of you in a Fox body. He does, but he doesn't think any of you are good. He hates all of you.
Yeah, he hates all of you. He's pissed that you're here. You know, like
he misses when this was a circle track.
Yeah, he's not. He doesn't care. He doesn't care.
So that being said, like the point of having a good day on track is to go there, have fun,
that's fun
and
for
be
you.
able to drive the car home.
That's right.
Which is a good day.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a really good day.
All right. So without further ado, you're going to start. So for a reminder of everyone how we do this, everybody has brought their list of 5 in no particular order. We will battle to take 2 of their cars, move them to the next level. We then move all the way through. At the end, that leaves us with 6 cars. Obviously, we're trying to get 5. One will have to die. But we also realize that there are probably a lot of blind spots. So the group of all of you who are on Patreon have given us a whole list of cars that we will then review before we make our final decisions to see if there's any swap outs, and then we will argue to the death for the final 5. And he wants them to all be Hondas. Anyway, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe
some surprises.
Maybe not. So in no particular order, you may start as the guest.
Yeah,
bring us your list.
Yeah, so I brought a real practical approach, to this, right? Like I've seen a lot of cars on track. I've seen a lot of fun had. I've seen a lot of heartbreak, so
much heartbreak.
And also I'm from the Midwest, right? So like thinking about a car that like fits the like this has got to be my car, like this.
Regional is really good and important because like if you live at a track that's really fast, a slow car that's really technical may not be as much.
That's not going to be
even outside of like we're blessed where we have we do have a lot of tracks.
You got some variety
in a 5-hour rip,
Right.
So starting off the list. Civic Si.
Okay.
Got it.
So that's 2006 to 2011.
Right.
Okay.
So next, the Scion twins.
Yes.
So
sure. Classic.
So and
this would be Gen 1 because you really can't.
You can get a Scion for that price point.
Yeah.
For sure.
Or
and you
BRZ.
can still get a BRZ Gen
BRZ,
1.
Yeah.
But a Gen 2 is outside.
Well,
It's like salvage.
When I say Scion twins, it's like the Scion era of either of those.
Okay, that makes sense.
Right. So
before Toyota got in the
which
game.
is effectively like 13 to 16.
Right.
Right.
Yep. 16
so
cut off for that.
350Z.
Okay.
So talk about reliability, talk about availability. Not a car that I like gravitate towards.
Yeah,
but
it's also got a pretty heavy drift and takeover tax on it right now. But we'll
does
get
it?
to that.
I guess I'm unaware.
I guess I'm
unaware.
Yeah.
Fiesta ST.
Mm-hmm.
Unconsidered.
It's not unconsidered. It was probably on both of our lists.
It's just in the data. Small sliver in the pie chart, and the second gen Honda Fit,
nice,
which is probably my expected choice.
That was your expected choice. I figured you.
That's way under budget, right? So like with that car, you could get the car, you could get all the parts, and you can run track days for 4 years for that budget.
There's something to be said about the longevity.
So I'm gonna go ahead and say right off the bat, like. We could probably just stop the show, and a lot of people would say this is a good list.
No way.
No. I think like there's a lot of people. I think like this is a list that.
Not saying your list is bad.
I had 12 cars on my list. I had to pare it down.
So I want to start with a car that I have zero experience in, but I know the lore of it being a very good track car, which is the SI. So like, just give me, why is that car on the list? Because it's something that's just like it's not on my radar at all.
Is that
like, I love like 90s Civics,
Yeah.
and like I understand like why the new like
that the turbo motor?
Civic Type R is
No.
cool.
No, so that's the
So still K.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you want to get into like kind of some of the nuance, right? Like, so, Civic was kind of the reemergence, of what the, like Honda's heritage, like so 6th gen is the SI that right?
Right.
Like,
and then the one before that was like the EP3 or was
yeah.
that,
So the EP was cool, but like a little bit like, that's a little oddball.
had the shifter on the
right?
dash.
Yeah,
Right?
And then, you get into, kind of housing crisis era stuff, right? So not a lot of like real impactful refreshes at that particular point in time.
By the way, I have never heard an era of cars as the housing crisis era.
2008.
I get it, but I just
like if you remember that point in time where it's like, man, all the enthusiast cars are going away, right?
Oh,
like
I know.
it's the
'Cause
rise.
nobody was buying them.
It's the rise of the crossover.
Yeah.
think of how boring Toyota was for like 15 years.
They had nothing cool.
and now they're one of the coolest brands.
Yeah, we can call it the rise of the crossover.
Yep.
So,
All right.
So Civic Si, K20Z3, right?
Okay.
So, K
motor.
series, great motor, right?
of support.
A lot of support. Limited slip,
that's nice.
from the
From
factory.
the factory. That is nice.
Yeah, from the factory. I think my whole list is limited slip from the factory.
Which is a really underrated thing.
By the way, before when I said the one thing you might have to change is like transmission stuff, he's like, nope, not on my list is what he meant to say. Because in my head, I was like, some things like an LSD can really change how a car drives.
The Fit doesn't have one, but like
okay.
that's.
But it doesn't really make enough power to need one.
It's not.
Have you driven a lot of front wheel drive cars? LSD really can change a car.
Really.
I mean, I guess I've only
so,
ever driven LSD front wheel drive cars on track.
It really can make a difference because otherwise you literally just put no power.
Because I guess I take
You
for
just
granted
spin
the Elantra N I raced 2 years ago had a really good diff.
Yeah,
That's what makes that car in a way. The front wheel drive diff on that thing is super developed.
It's point and shoot.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's point and shoot. So just with any Honda product, particularly like the Civic Si, right? It just checks all the boxes. It's not particularly like flashy or like overly exciting, or any of those things.
and what can they be had for right now? What's the price point on them?
Like 8.
8. Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
So you've got some room to spend.
You got some room to spend, right? You can
get a really good example.
Yeah. I mean, for more you could get, so they're ranged, right? But like but you can find them around, I think for like, 8, 9, in that era, right? But it's just like great daily, great aftermarket support, and just as far as like livability plus being able to throw it around, and not worry about it, right? Like you can beat the shit out of it, and
The other nice thing is if you do put it off, actually, this isn't even a factor.
and there's
that
probably a
I
buddy.
thought of.
Yeah, that can.
And you could go to any junkyard and get a door and a windshield and a panel
just like
and
normal
whatever.
people cars.
Because if you have a car that you're scared to track day,
Yes.
because if you go into a wall, you're gonna drive slower. You're not gonna drive as well. Right. Where if you're yeeting that thing into corners, like front wheel drive cars, especially like big commitment cars, and you're not super afraid of crunching a taillight or a fender or whatever. That changes your driving
It isn't
experience.
precious.
I have never seen you be afraid to crash anything I've ever seen you drive.
Are they all,
I'm also an idiot.
are they all things that you own?
Some of them, yeah.
Some of them, yeah.
Some of
Again,
them, yeah.
like I'm missing pieces up here.
It's not precious. It's kind of the people's champ, right? It's got broad shoulders. It's blue collar.
Totally.
From a track day perspective, I think.
Yeah.
I like it.
All right, so the other one, we might as well just stay in the Honda theme, is the Fit, because to me, I feel like this is like the modern Miata. And here's my thing on this, on the whole Miata piece, is that like hands down, and we'll I don't know, maybe the Miata's on someone's list. Everyone thinks it should be the answer, right? Like I've seen that sticker, like Mazda, the Miata is the answer. But I also think one of the things that made the Miata so cool was that, and I was there when the car came out. Like I remember when the car was new and my friend's mom got it. Was that it was sort of seen as like the hairdresser car. And then all of a sudden it became like one of the most raced cars on the weekend. And it became this like, if you were like a normal car person who didn't know about racing and you made fun of the Miata, somebody would show up and be like, blah, blah, blah. yeah, it's faster than an I-11 on track. Blah, blah, blah. They would hit you with all the stuff. Most race car on the
and
weekend.
they're not wrong.
They're not wrong.
Yeah.
wrong.
They're
And,
not
like,
wrong.
Big shout out to like Dean Case and the guys over at Mazda. Like when they supported that in that era, the Miata did become the most tracked car on the weekend.
Yeah.
And all this stuff, and it became this amazing car. But part of its heroic element is because it is slightly the unexpected car. And I think the Fit is like that new car. That when someone looks at a Fit, the average person doesn't go, wow, that could be a great race car.
That is
Yeah.
performance. No, it's like a micro minivan.
Yeah.
So the Fit, I think the Fit is great because it's so unexpected as a good track car. And it's not necessarily the best track car, but it's the most fun that I've had in the last decade is driving a Fit.
Right.
Because it eliminates it's full chuckable, right?
Yep.
Like full risk. 12 tenths.
Every corner.
12 tenths, 10
it's the
quarter.
best.
It's the epitome of driving a slow car fast.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the like, I have like a bit, even though I'm like into tracking, there's like there's an anxiety to tracking, right?
Yeah.
Like every time you go out there,
course.
right? Especially if you approach it like kind of without ego,
Yeah.
and that goes away with that car, right? So you can refine small details. You can work on your specifics, right?
Yeah.
And you can just like absolutely blast it.
There's really something to be said about that.
Number 3, no consumables. Zero.
Because it's so lightweight.
One
just
set
doesn't go through
of
stuff.
tires, 12 days.
That's
That's
like maybe
crazy.
right. Like so, just
True
like
budget.
Yeah.
and it's an excellent pickup truck, right? The amount of stuff that you can put in the back of a Fit,
You can also sleep in it.
you can also sleep in it.
Yeah.
Right. So like you want like one thing that like you can get to the track, you can run the track all weekend, you can get home, you can run the next track day, you can have money left over, and you can just keep sending it.
And you could make them look cool.
You can make them look cool, right?
Yeah.
Like so. I mean, Sam Dooling, who is runs our tech. He an example of like perfect Fit lifestyle, right? He's got a first gen Fit. The second gen Fit is just a significantly more progressed and better car as a car because the Fit didn't come to the States till 06 or something, but it existed from 02.
Yeah.
Right. So we got like a 4-year-old car.
Do you remember when the car first came out? Because print mags were still a thing. Remember they did an entire mag on like that segment of car, like Super Street did like a spin-off. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Because when that car first came out, it was everyone thought it was cool because the Civic was getting fatter and this felt more like it.
The Fit is 100% the spiritual successor to the EF hatch. They feel the same on track. They feel the same on the street.
That's how I always felt about the one.
God, you're really selling me on
No,
that.
they do. It's just like it's so much. I get
sick.
my son has a Fit now.
Okay.
So like that's his first car,
Yeah.
and you're like, God, it's such a blast.
It's funny
I
how
love it.
you have all those small cars that were popular in like Europe or in Asia that we never got
Yeah.
here, and then they started to bring them in, and like that idea of like the spiritual successor, of the car, because you think the 1 Series for me is closer to an E30 or an E36 than the modern,
Or like the M2 is like the true
the
M3
true
of these
one.
days. Yeah.
But also like for in like the Volkswagen side of things, like I had a Audi A1, which is like a car not sold in the US, and it to me felt like a Mark III, even though it was like a 2011. That's
cool.
why I loved it, because even though it was a newer car, like
They've kind of escaped the bloat.
And then you just realize that the only problem with new cars is they just got too big.
They're too big. They're too big and
Too
too numb.
big. All right, so
Honda
we
Fit.
need to push through the list.
Yeah.
350Z. Where is
So-
that like top of your list,
No,
bottom of your list?
this is data driven, right? Like so, if I look at something that like has a lot of flexibility, it's rear wheel drive, right? So because that's a preference, right? Like I've tracked front wheel drive cars, for forever, so it's rear wheel drive, right? VQ engine's got a ton of support, right? It's got
support.
It's got versatility, right? So like you enter into track day culture and want to move into drift culture, want to have longevity out of this vehicle. Tons and tons of flexibility,
And people know how to make them last.
Yeah, it's not as like
It's unfortunately only available as a 3-speed, but The CD09 is just one of the weirdest transmissions.
I don't.
to me.
I don't have it. I don't have
It has like a usable, like I don't know.
the power band is weird. Yeah. So like I don't know. I don't know those nuances.
On certain tracks, it could be pretty advantaged because it is somewhat
For the
close
power
ratio
level
in
it
areas.
comes with, it's very long geared.
It's not a sports car cumbersome as a package as like a C5 or something like that, right? So it like has a little bit more flexibility as like a real car, every day, you know, and and like swappable Japanese parts, right? So like still inexpensive to keep on the track and keep going.
And as long as you don't straight pipe it, it sounds good.
Yeah,
like
right.
I will go out there and say the stock VQ just sounds good.
Sounds great.
My mom had a 350Z. She bought it brand new,
Yeah.
and like it was in manual, great car. Sounds fun. Like it's I actually fit
factory LSD.
That's right.
Factory LSD.
And depending on year, factory Brembos.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, of his list, what would you push forward?
What would I push forward?
Yeah.
I'm sold on the Fit.
Yeah, I am too,
dude.
I think the Fit is an instant win because I think we need a car on this list that is that type of car.
Right. When I talk about like the time attack classes, right? You can almost break them up by like cost of operation, right? And that's why Club SC exists as a class because like the car is cheap, the cost of operating is cheap, so it's like cheap period, fun period.
For sure.
Yeah. So Fit moves forward.
And my opinion is that the Twins, we didn't get super deep on them, but I think the Twins move forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even ask questions about it because it's so good. Now I will say Gen 1, 40 less horsepower.
Which very underpowered.
Which is a lot in that car.
Yes.
Like losing 40 horsepower in that car, and it's 60% less stiff than the newer Gen.
Mm-hmm.
You can fix some of that, but not all of it.
Yeah.
Because it's chassis rigidity.
It gets more expensive to make it faster.
Yeah. But like, so and I'm just saying this, we have rules, which is under 15 grand.
Yeah.
But if you're shopping a $13,000 FRS or like a later BRZ that is the newer Gen, I would get the newer one.
Oh, every time, but I don't think you can get a newer Gen 1 for under 15.
Maybe like
I tried. I tried last night.
No, you can't. Yeah,
you can't.
You can't.
They're 20 plus.
Like I just had a BRZ a couple weeks ago just because I wanted to drive it again because we did the best driver's car and it made the list on best driver's car.
Pretty
and
high
it was
up.
like I was like, I just want to go drive it again. And then I went and did a like half day of canyons and I was like, yeah, this thing's great. It's just fun.
Now, what I will say, if you live anywhere that's in any kind of altitude, like if you're living in Utah and you want to do track days,
yeah, I think makes like
avoid
16
the Twins
horsepower
at all costs.
Yeah.
Avoid it all. That's the first time I ever drove one and I thought it was broken.
Right.
I was like, this can't be like something's wrong.
All right, so Fit moves forward. Twins move forward. There's other really good ones on that list, but maybe we'll get back to them. All right, Ron.
Yeah.
Do you feel okay with those two moving forward?
I do. I mean, I would like in between like the.
If you could pick your two, what were your two?
I'd get a Fit. I'd get a Fit or a GR.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So
cool.
I think so. Like I put the Civic Si is like actually the more balanced package of the two Hondas, right? Like it has more, but it's the Fit's just become cooler. You know?
Mm-hmm. I loved the Fit when it came out. And when Danger Dan was running the Fit at GridLife, he would call me and be like, dude, you need to get one of these.
Yeah.
Because he knows that I enjoy that super lightweight. Like I would prefer a lightweight car than a fast car.
Yeah.
Like I just enjoy the
I will also
of
say
it.
that's a big factor that isn't in our rule set right now, but I think the Fit being so accessible to your friends that you could convince your friend to get one, even if they don't have a 15K budget. But I'm seeing out here, there's a movement of like, there's like a Fit gang and they all go on track and they'll go door to door, bumper to bumper.
And it doesn't matter because the pressure's
much
off,
fun.
right?
Like maybe I'm buying a Fit.
There's like,
Fit?
Let's buy Fits.
Let's buy Fits.
Yeah, there's no it's not precious.
I think that's a big
and
factor.
if we think about the journey of track day too, right? So like I thought about this from the perspective of like I want a track car, I'm starting this.
Yeah.
So like there's room to grow and you're not gonna like blow your budget. You also like here's a weird thing, like the ability to mod the Fit is limited. It has a ceiling, right? So you will reach the driving potential of that vehicle and then you will have to move on. And that's what you're supposed to do anyway.
Sure.
Otherwise you're going to credit card
but you
race.
still enjoy going and racing it. Like if you moved on but kept it,
you'll always
as
love
your
going
second
back.
backup car.
Yeah, like,
it's fun.
It serves
But moving from a Fit to like a big boy car, you will wreck any other driver that just started in the big boy car.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Momentum
absolutely.
car. Yeah. Again, the
Momentum car.
Miata of our time because the Miata was that. All right.
All right.
What do you got?
So I actually have.
Actually, and I want to say the Miata time. I also think the BRZ or the twins, whatever,
Yeah.
is also the modern Miata.
That's
just with a roof.
that's gonna be the hero.
It's the replacement for the Miata that's actually not as available anymore.
Easily.
Yeah.
All right,
It looks way
hit
cooler.
us with your list.
Okay, I actually have 2 lists. I'll go through one right now.
Two lists? You
I
get
have
one list.
I have the obvious list. You're gonna want this other
You
one.
have a goblin list?
I have the obvious list and a goblin list.
Okay.
This is like things that nobody would think of, but I've seen on track, and I'm like,
We might have to
that
save the
guy's
goblin list for
having
Patreon
the
if we
most
got
fun.
that time, but
That's
let's
fine.
go.
Okay.
Let's go.
All right. Obvious list. C5 Corvette. You could still get them 10 to 15K.
It was on my list.
I'm not fighting
but
you. I'm not fighting you. Move through.
Yeah.
Move
Okay.
through.
Acura RSX Type S.
Okay.
E46 330 Ci. Porsche Boxster S. And I also had the Fiesta ST.
I'm going to start off by saying I've done a lot of research into the Boxster S.
Yeah.
And the number one thing that comes out is that particular engine has oil, like starvation
oil,
issues.
cooling.
Oh, interesting.
And it's a high maintenance response to it because and I forget what that is. It's like the M96, M97 engine. Like it is notorious. Now, there's also plenty of people, if you just like anything on the internet, if you want to find comfort in buying that car, someone will tell you that like AccuSump makes, this, and you can get this different pan for it. But right out the box,
You're focusing
there's
on problems,
a good chance
not
that you're
driving.
going to bore score that thing.
Yeah,
because
it's on the list because I think that's such an easy way to get into a Porsche on track.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
for sure.
Like,
It's also
so-
it is a fantastic driving car. Like,
Yeah.
it handles really well. The only reason it's never on any of my lists is that it's a sub 6'1" driver fit. Like you would be like at the brink with a helmet.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a little tight.
And they got a bit
tight.
nerfed from the factory to not beat the 911. So.
Yeah, it's also the expensive hairdresser car. Like it definitely filled that space.
Yeah,
of
it's
the,
not
of,
that
of
cool,
the Miata.
but you're
at the
still
same
in a
time, I
Porsche.
think the Cayman's really cool looking. It's weird just what the top
Cayman
is.
is cool.
Cayman, you can't make the list. I looked at it.
It's too expensive.
Too expensive.
Too expensive,
So
yeah.
You can buy a Boxster for like
$1.
you can buy a Boxster. You can buy a Boxster.
Crazy.
You can get them for like $5,000.
You can get them
You
for
can.
$5,000, fix your engine issues, and then be on your merry
you
way.
You can get them, and not fix your engine issues until the next track day for like
Right.
10,
Just get
for like
another one
10.
instead of
for
replacing.
10.
You could buy three,
No, but just like
you could
tinkering
buy
required,
3 Boxsters and make one good one. You know what? Boxster's back on the list. Boxster's back on the list. I like that concept.
Yeah.
No, because I looked at it too. Because obviously, being a Porsche guy, I was like, the Boxster. Maybe I don't fit in it, but I've driven them uncomfortably. But I've driven them. There's an argument that the Boxster is a better handling car than the 911.
Sure.
You would argue the Cayman GT4 is a better handling car. The same argument that people made when the 944 came out.
And practicality,
it's more balanced.
Practicality very low.
Yeah.
But women factor higher.
Also, when you're like at like a like a neighborhood party,
Totally.
someone's like, "Hey, like, do you race cars?" You're like, "Yeah, I race a Porsche."
I race a Honda Fit.
Yeah, me and my buddies, we race a Honda. What's that? Is that like a motorcycle?
Yeah.
No, it's
Oh, that's the scooter, right?
yeah.
No.
So C5 Vet. What's your opinion on a C5 Vet? Because I think like
Over Dominator, right? Like it's a sports car, right?
Yeah.
Like proper, right?
Yeah.
So C5 Corvette, not a bad answer for sure, right? Like,
but also a high consumable.
Yeah, high consumable, but like a lot of range on it, right? Like so you can get a lot of life out of that car and like overcook it. I mean, you can enter. I guess in the time attack classes, you're kind of stuck to a couple, but but you can. It's on the upper end. Right?
I would definitely do sim time before getting in it on track.
For sure, right? If you're looking for like an expanding challenge that is associated with raw speed, the C5 is a really, really good.
And you can stay with that car for a decade.
100%. Yeah. And it's pretty bulletproof.
Yep.
Like
Great gas mileage. The hatch is pretty good.
Yep.
You could fit a lot. You could fit a set of tires in the back hatch. It's decently comfortable as like a tourer,
Yeah.
It hits a lot of those points. And I would say I didn't even think about that factor, but if you've never driven on track, it's probably not a great idea to be in one.
The one other one I would bring up on that is like it is not an easily serviceable car. I don't know if you remember the C5 we had at Hoonigan.
Certain things.
But like doing a clutch job
doing
on
a
that
clutch
car,
is massive.
It sucks.
Yeah.
Like without a lift, like it's not the easy lift.
Yeah.
It's not like something you can service on 4 jack stands in your garage. But it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's a good car.
Yeah.
it's a
That
good
one,
car.
that
And
part's
there's
really good.
always someone in the paddock with the C5.
And if you wanted to also go drifting, it's like pretty turnkey drift.
Very
car.
much so. Yeah.
It's pretty good.
So I want to talk about the E36.
Okay.
Right? So
E36 versus
Did
46.
you have
Yeah.
E46?
E46 was on my list, and that's where the Z and the 46 were flip flopping.
Yeah.
I don't know enough about BMWs.
Okay.
Right. So like in general.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like, but why? But I found that like E36s, at least in the variants,
Yeah.
you know, are kind of riding the line. They're like going up in price.
So the
you know?
E36s are very popular because a nostalgia thing. They look really cool. That's like the first M3 anybody really remembers. Like the E30 was like the older head kind of car.
It's arguably golden era Euro.
Yeah, it's what's really hot right now. And I think the E46 is on its way there. The E46 to me is like a car that's got a lot more in it. So like you can't get into an E36 M3, a decent one, for 15 grand anymore, right? The E46 330i is very close to an M3.
Because
E46
I went through the same thing putting together my list, and it's like the E46 has better engine options in the mid-level than the E36 did.
Yeah.
Like the E36 outside of the M3 is like not as
And
great.
the E36 just needs a lot more to be track viable, in my opinion. Like BMW, I don't have a crazy amount of experience. Somebody might eviscerate me, but in my experience, the chassis needs more work. It needs more money. Like it's not as fast. Where the 46 is super balanced, great engine options, great transmission.
It does have all that issues of like tearing the subframe and the suspension. Like, but you
Minor.
can fix all that.
46
stuff,
is your choice. I heard 36.
No,
You
he
said
said
it.
46
is my
Okay.
choice.
No, he did say
Then we're
yeah,
aligned,
yeah.
but that still explains it because the reason I didn't put it on my list is because
Right.
I didn't feel confident in my familiarity with it.
So the 330i
data
is
says
that little.
number 2.
The other thing too,
GridLife.
the other thing too at the 46 is that the 36 was still in an era where like dentists owned BMWs.
Yeah, sure.
The 46 was like your like, you know, like the person across the like a normal person owned a 46. Like that, like BMW kind of dropped down a little bit, sold a lot more cars. There's a
Got more
lot
accessible.
more out there. There's more in yards. I personally think that the 36 looks better. I kind of like how the 36 drives better. But the 46 is
It's a lot of car
one of
for
the
the
only
money.
BMWs I've ever owned.
And you could get a
drift.
330i in the 10s.
Yeah.
That's a lot of car for 10 grand.
Yep.
Yeah. And like the basic engine's like pretty decent in it. It's pretty stout. I mean, it's the reason why it has like replaced
Like a
the
328,
S chassis and
that's where you
drifting.
have to like really nerd out. You have to pick the right. That's why 330 is like very specific on there because that with suspension arms and transmission, diff selection.
What's the engine on that
everything.
again? That's the
I think it's a 2.5 liter inline 6, like NA.
right.
It's not quite the M3 motor. It's not the S54, but
And there's also a massive aftermarket for it.
huge.
I mean, there's so much stuff out there that ranges from like the guys who make swap kits and knuckles or whatever in the drift world, all the way to like full blown like actual race car people.
Yeah.
shit,
Yeah.
right?
Right,
Like
totally.
like
Yep.
like
Turner, Bimmer World,
yeah.
like Garagistic, like anybody.
and then all the guys in Europe who we're not, we don't even think about, who are like building real race car stuff. All right, what else you got on here? We got.
I want to talk about the RSX.
Yeah, so this is a car that has now. You brought it up for one of you guys brought it up for the best.
It was
car.
it was on my list. It's on my list for many things.
It's reappeared on this.
I think
list.
it's slept on. I think there's a lot of them.
And Nads brought it up the other day.
I
and
think the SI is the same car.
They're probably
basically
very
is the same
similar.
chassis. Is it the same years? Is that the same time?
Similar, yeah, same
Okay.
time period.
They're hot swappable, right? Those are
Sure,
that's the same dude.
To me,
that has that car.
it's a look thing because like I really like I love Integras. Like
Yeah,
Integras
for
are
sure.
where my heart's at.
It's basically
and that's the
next-gen
spiritual.
Integra.
Yeah, it is. And you can make them look really cool. I loved them when they came out. I love them now.
I brought this conversation up with Nads, and Nads actually said that like he thinks it's like you're not missing much because I said I was like, do I need to go drive this car? Because one, the Patreon list brought it up. You and Vinny both were like, yeah, this is a car to go drive, and it just is like not on my radar. When did it come out?
2003.
Yep. So it was effectively like
I must have driven this. I was a journalist during this era.
You very well might have.
it came out after the
Yeah, it was the end of DC2.
Yeah. And then the RSX came out, and then that's when the EP Civic came out, and the RSX was the clear choice between those two if you were a Honda enthusiast.
For sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Hondas feel a certain
It's a lot
way.
of that spirit, isn't
right?
there?
Yeah, you get into a Civic Si of any gen, you get into an RSX of any gen, you get into a CRV. It feels like a Honda.
That's funny.
Right?
And what does that feel from a Honda guy?
It's just like a different level of
Like where you can hear the wind through all the crevices of the cars. Is that the feel?
That's the feel.
In a strong gust.
You're like, man, I wonder how
I dented my door panels.
Yeah, I wonder how
wind.
thin this glass is. I mean, I think that's changed a lot. Like, in modern era. In modern era. But like, no, it's just a steering feel and like kind of it's like I get into the NSX and it feels like the CRX. Right. You just like
it's like the same design language,
it's like really
the same,
familiar, right? Like just all this like kind of nuance and like how it feels and how you're connected to it.
Yeah,
I get that. When I get into like a 992 GT3 RS, it feels just like a Volkswagen.
Right?
Rabbit.
Yeah, totally.
Pretty much a Beetle.
It's
pretty much a Beetle.
Pretty much a Beetle. Yeah, pretty much a Beetle. So like as far as like because on my list like the Civic would be. I don't know. Like
you have a connection to it.
I'd fight for it because like if one, the data supports it, right? That's number one, Honda, right? Like you go to a track day, you're gonna see
Hondas.
You're gonna see a car in that lineage, right? Because there's like parts from this RSX that can fix that car, vice versa, same thing, right? And in racing. Too, like Honda dominates. I went and looked at the runoffs winners in the IT category in 1986. Honda wins, and every year, right? So just having
who won in '85?
I don't know. I didn't go that far back.
But anyway, we'll get back to that.
Yeah.
Of course.
Let's just right ahead. I right now vote to move the E46 forward.
100%.
Like I just think that's like a no-brainer. It was
on my list. It's a no-brainer. Yeah,
I'm happy with that.
So I think now the conversation is what other car moves forward.
But
right?
you got some good cars on this list
do.
too. So I'm fighting for my Honda fam.
I'm gonna say because of the limitations with the Boxster from a maintenance side or some of the.
I'm okay with that one being out.
I think it definitely deserves mention.
I think it should be brought up.
I don't think it ends up in the back.
I think it's only on the list because it's a Porsche. It's not actually like a great choice.
You're saying like a Pontiac Solstice may be just as good. Another road. So what's a car that people don't talk about? Another one, BMW Z3.
What was the Pontiac Solstice maybe good and nobody knew it?
Maybe. Actually, no, it's not. I drove it on track.
Okay. I don't know.
Yeah, it was pretty soft.
You just mentioned one of my Goblin List cars. The Saturn Sky /
Tune in to the Patreon for the Goblin List because I have my own Goblin List. He has a Goblin List. We're gonna do a whole Goblin List on Patreon, but let's keep it on.
Right.
So okay, that's out.
The Fiesta ST, I put on my list because I feel like it should be on the list, but it never will be.
There's nothing that the ST can do that the RSX or SI can't,
or the Fit,
can't.
Yeah, I would argue that its closest competitor is the Fit. It's about the same size.
That's right.
But they're I mean, like power wise, they're dramatically different.
No. The ST's almost 200 horsepower. It's 197.
I owned a Fiesta and I owned a Fit. The Fiesta is a garbage car compared to the Fit in every single aspect.
Yeah,
garbage
on track though.
Everything. Okay. Everything about it, the interior packaging, the switches, the knobs, the feel, like the
UX,
all of it, like just as a car.
It's funny because me and him have a lot of experience in the Fiesta ST because of Ken's sponsorship with Ford and that car being brought over. But they were given to us like disposable candy. So we just were like, whatever. Like we didn't care that none of that worked because it was like, I don't know, we just crashed another one. Yeah. I mean, we ended up giving 30 of them to Team O'Neill,
which they're still going. I drove some of those last year.
Garbage car is maybe a little bit harsh, but like by comparison to the Honda Fit, because they're in category. They're like they're head to head for the common consumer.
Sure.
Like not even close.
But you can get
even close.
But you can get an ST for about the same price as a Fit.
Yes.
And the ST is making just shy of 200 horsepower.
It's probably
out of a 1.6 turbo. That's a pretty decent engine.
It's probably a more exciting car right out the rip because of its speed.
Right.
Right. And its ability to make speed. And it's got an LSD as well, I think. It was designed for that, right? It was designed as a hot hatch. The Fit accidentally became one because it was so thoughtful in every other aspect, right?
Man, what a diss. You tried to build a performance car and Honda just mistakenly built one. Just
because that's our DNA.
Because it's what they do.
I still don't think the Fit is a performance car, but it's a great track day car, right? So
from his list, we moved forward the Fit and the Twins.
Okay.
Right. So,
I feel like if E46 moves forward, the RSX
E46 is already there.
RSX has to be there
instead of the ST.
Yeah.
So you guys both feel RSX
I agree. I agree with
that,
right? So that checks the box of because the Civic, the RSX, they're similar chassis.
So now between those two and the C5 Vet, by the way, we are stacking a heavy front wheel drive class.
No, I understand. I think
it makes a lot of sense. But
it's budget. It's front wheel drive is a very compact system.
Definitely.
Less things to break.
For me, it's the battle of C5 Vet versus C46. And I think the deciding factor there, and I don't know the answer, but I would pick the C5 all day, any day. But I have, I'm very lucky to have a lot of driving experience. So the C5 is way more exciting to me. But starting out, I think E46 would be better. And just from a longevity standpoint.
Right. So E46 and RS6 is what we're saying.
RSX.
RSX.
Between the RSX and the C5, I would choose the C5. And I'm a Honda guy, so I am going to be heartbroken that the SI, if the SI doesn't make the list and the RSX doesn't make the list. But I also think that it would be in the price point for track day cars if the C5 is mentioned and doesn't make the list.
Yeah.
That is...
I completely agree with that. For me, it's either C5 or E46 to move forward because they're very similar.
Then E46. Yeah.
My top three from your list are the Vet, the 46, and the Fiesta ST, mainly because I have experience in all three of them.
The big difference is what the RSX gives you is VTEC, and not even as a joke. Part of the fun factor of being in a car is even if you're not going that fast, when you're at 8,000 RPM, you feel like you're ripping. You feel like a hero.
Yeah.
Versus a ST is lower in the rev range. It's a little lazier. You'll be fast.
Yeah.
But experience wise, are you going to go home and be like, bro, I can't wait to do that again?
But say that same thing now and you're comparing a C5 Vet.
Yeah, but C5 Vet is I can't believe I made it home.
And by the way, I can't afford to go back to the track because I smoked those tires and I flat spotted those, and
which is cool because the sound of that,
$1,400.
The sound of the V8 just playing over your head when you're powering out of a corner, so sick. Oh god.
So what is it? We got to move forward, guys.
Well, who chooses?
We choose as a group.
As a group. Yeah.
So I think we've narrowed it down. Yeah. Here's what I'm hearing. We've narrowed it down to the E46 moves forward. We've all agreed there, right? E46, C5 Vet, RSX.
I think the C5 moves forward, right? So if I was
so let's do the quick vote because it always comes down to a vote. We can make this work.
Yeah.
Is it C5 Vet, RS6?
C5 Vet.
C5 Vet. That's it.
I mean, between those two, C5
Doesn't
Vet.
matter.
Yeah, because I would have chosen that SI over the RSX.
E46
and they're the same.
or RSX? E46.
E46.
Yeah. So for sure. Yeah.
You did it both back to back.
Right.
I know you want the RS6 to move forward, but
that's fair.
Okay. So here we are. This is where we currently sit. We have, from your side, we have the Twins, aka the FRS BRZ, and we also have the second gen Honda Fit.
Yep.
You have brought to the table the BMW E46 330i, and in addition, the C5 Vet. That's where we stand. All right, we're going to take a quick little break. We'll come back, and I'll give you guys my list, which is probably also a goblin list. Here we are with another Storytime interruption brought to you by my good friends at FCP Euro. Look, if you are a frequent listener of Very Vehicular, you know that I have been threatening to call the herd. Sell cars. That's what I've been threatening to do. A couple days ago, I decided, you know what? I'm going to make the first step. And the first step is posting a feeler post. See who's interested. And to my dismay, a lot of people were interested. The car in question is my 1991 Audi 200 Avant 20-valve turbo. The problem is, it just doesn't fit what I want right now. I got a couple other wagons. I think I want to swap this out for something else. So I figured, put it up on the chopping block. Over the weekend, I decided it was time to clean it up, take those photos, try to actually move it and sell it. Unfortunately, I fell back in love. How could I possibly get rid of it? So I deleted the post and immediately went to FCPEuro.com and just started filling the cart with a bunch of things. Because see, for me, if I have a lot of parts to finish a car, it makes it a lot harder to sell, right? I mean, this makes sense. So I started getting all the basics. And the first thing is suspension bushings. This immediately makes a car better. It had a squeaky belt. I replaced that. I needed a clutch master. Pick that up. And a few other things. And of course, a whole bevy of liquid moly fluids, because it makes the car feel happier. So anyway, I did all that, and I guess the car is not for sale anymore. If you too are looking for an excuse not to sell a car, head over to FCPEuro.com, invest in some more parts, and get that project of yours back on the road and off of the classified posts. Keep it off of Marketplace, guys. Stop selling cars unless you're selling them to me. Let's face it, living the low life does come with its drawbacks. When I first got my RWB 911, there were only 3 gas stations in all of Long Beach I could get into without ripping the front bumper off. Luckily, KW Suspensions then introduced the Hydro Lift system to raise your car to adult heights. The HLS2 lifts the front axle, while the HLS4 lifts them all. It's available as a complete kit or an add-on to your existing KW coilovers. And it works up to 50 miles an hour, meaning you don't have to take every dip in the road at that douchey 45-degree, 2-mile-an-hour crawl. Check out kwsuspensions.com to find a kit for your slammed ride. I love that you just start by laughing.
Scotto's smile of just what you're packing in that notebook right now is probably, this is my favorite part of firing order.
I actually think I might disappoint you. Because I think, I have a lot of overlap from everybody else.
Okay.
And as I started to go through my list, because we created the rule of no engine swaps, it really makes a lot of the cars that I would normally go after not work. So for example, I love the 944. I think it's a really fun platform. Yeah. It's a fantastic driver. The car and the chassis is really good, but like the stock 911, the stock 944 engine is pretty blah and lackluster. And the car needs either inline 5 swap, shout out to the Boost Brothers, or
turbocharging,
or like an LS swap. Like it's one of the cars that is actually the current engine in it. It takes so much effort and work to make it not just like really sporty, but viable. So I just like, but at the same time, like,
spec 944 exists.
Was a thing.
I actually did look at 944s as well, but same thing, like kind of a semi-gutless engine by comparison.
Unless you get the turbo, but the turbo's 20 grand plus now. It's not as inexpensive.
Right. And in this list in general, I think the audience will notice not a lot of turbo cars. And I think that's by design, right? Like
I might change that on my list.
Okay, nice. Well, let's get into it.
Okay. So at the top was the Corvette C5 on the things that have already been said, because it's just for like enjoyment.
Yeah.
Like I know it's going to not be the easiest. I know it's going to be the one that's going to have a ton of issues and have like, the consumable element, but you can also get most of the parts for it in Napa, which is kind of nice.
No, totally,
right? Like you can race that anywhere in America and not only find parts for it, but find someone who knows how to work on it.
Yeah.
Because it's like,
and you can race it in a variety of applications, right? Like it's
almost everything.
Yeah. And having gotten to once drive a Pratt & Miller C6, like I know the capability of what that
where
car
it can
could
end up
at the end, right? Like
I love the
is.
growth path of it.
Yeah. And like what was the CompuWare, like that era,
God,
like
so
those
good.
cars are just like so
all
cool.
time.
But we've already said it, we've already moved it forward. The Twins was also on my list. I just like it's that car that I don't know if I would ever own one, but like I'm a huge champion for it.
I'd look at it and think about owning it several times over. I don't know if I'd ever actually own one.
I'm about an inch too big for it, but like a new seat could change that. But I'm an inch too big to own it every day. But it's still, for a small Japanese car, the fact that it fits my 6'8" frame is pretty amazing. Like I could still turn laps in it. I have to do this with a helmet, but it kind of works. I wouldn't pass any actual regulation because I have no room.
If I wasn't gravel obsessed, I would be in one today.
Yeah.
Easily.
Okay. So the next one for me is another repeat. And this is what always becomes a problem because it means that my list ends up being my 2 goblins get forced forward because I just repeat all the ones. But this is one that didn't make it forward, which is the Fiesta ST.
Yeah.
And I think there's something really, that is a car that it was on that's the only car that's on all three of our lists. So even though we like haven't moved it forward yet,
Very interesting that
it's
it made
very
all
interesting.
three.
And for me, I think it has a lot to do with, one, the small chuckability of it. The engine, the 1.6 turbo is a fun motor. 200 horsepower out the box. Like, they're really affordable. I mean, you can find them for like $7 or $8 grand, which is like
so
a
nice.
really, really good buy for what that car is. And then I will go to this one, which maybe this is an entire platform space or configuration that we have not talked about, which is we have no all-wheel drive cars on our list. GDWRX. He's giving me a look of like, that's a nightmare.
I mean, if you want to oil down the track, that's a good choice.
Oh, spoken from experience.
Yeah, I mean, you had one, but
I considered it. Yeah,
like it's in the affordable space. Look, the Audi guy in me wanted to say an Audi, but like, there's no Audi for that price that is reliable and isn't going to be a huge nightmare. Maybe an RS4 would be kind of fun. I mean, S4 would be kind of fun, but like a B5 S4. But like, they're a huge pain to work on. When things go wrong, they're not that easy to service. And the minute I say it, Ron's like, the engine's in front of the struts, which is
not only that. I think the reason why you don't see a lot of all-wheel drive cars on here is because like a GD is a amazing daily, really fun in different conditions and everything. On the track, it will not make you a better driver because you're just fighting understeer. And with that car, it's an open diff in the back, it's an open diff up front, like the center is, not breakable. So you would have to do so much to it to make it rotatable.
Yep.
That like you're out of your range.
The problem is the STI, which I think is a better option.
Phenomenal.
Because you do have,
if you could find an STI for 15 grand.
The thing is that 15, you're getting the bottom of the barrel for
dogged.
Like they used to be that you could pick them up there. I mean, I bought my STI for 12.
I got my Evo RS for 15.
Yeah,
unfortunately,
good ones are now in the 20s, and the ones that are left over or like they have seen a life you don't want.
And I think the problem is like the anxiety of like you can stay flat out in a Honda all day, every lap. Don't worry, pull it back in, whatever. With an EJ, unfortunately, like you're always kind of worried: is this going to blow up? Is this going to whatever? Right. And the transmission on those years isn't great either.
We have a lot of Subarus in the GridLife ecosystem.
For sure.
So they do. People
great platform.
I also
not budget.
I also looked at the gen after. I forget what that one is, but the 2008 era.
Those
WRX.
Are much better.
Yeah, I looked at that as well. Having driven both, I just enjoy how the GD. It just feels like a lighter car. It's more truckable. The steering feels better. Like you had yours, which is the reason you were named RonCar, because we called that car RonCar.
That's right.
But like you had a lot of experience in that car in a very modified world. Like your
from
car,
bone stock, because I started my first track day I did in it. I just had wheels and tires.
Yeah.
And then I evolved it to like full swap everything, you know? And it's an amazing mid-range car.
The thing that it lacks is the simplicity of a lot of the other cars that we've talked about, right? So like that's really its only like detriment. It certainly is an option. It certainly is viable. If we're looking at like cheap track day car, it doesn't come up.
Because what you're saying is even though the chassis can be
accessible,
found, what it takes to make it better or to make it compete is a problem.
No, I mean not necessarily. It's just the I wouldn't even necessarily say that they're not reliable. They just have more things that could
go wrong.
That could break. Right. It's more complicated. Just being an all-wheel drive system. Like there's just more.
Yeah.
It's just more to deal with.
So let me ask you a question: if it was an STI,
absolutely.
Yeah,
it would be high up on this list, but it's hard to find them in that price. And yeah.
By the way, if anyone's got a nice white blob eye, let me know.
2.
I'd like to buy one.
Hawkeye for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still wouldn't.
I'll take a Hawkeye.
I still wouldn't put it on the track day list for me as a track day car.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, that's like one of the first real, I think, like accessible turbo cars.
Yeah. Now I'm like remembering that era, right? And like just how much of a splash that, and like when the Evo like finally came, stateside, it was like
the arms race started.
It was ape shit, you know, like.
Yeah.
I remember my buddy Sterling he showed up. We used to have this meet every Thursday, T-Bell night. So it was like we'd go to Taco Bell every Thursday.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
Park in the parking lot, get some T-Bell and hang, and then Sterling.
I love that he calls it T-Bell.
I know. It is
Yeah.
T-Bell all day.
Yeah. And then Sterling showed up, quietly bought, a new Evo.
That doesn't let anybody know.
Yeah. And then he rolled up. We're like, fuck is that? You're like, oh shit.
I'll never forget.
That was
man.
a rad
that era
time.
defined the car world for me.
Yeah.
WRC was on Speed Channel.
Yes.
Watching the whole season, learning who Petter Solberg is, watching these cars. You could get the same thing at the dealership. You get one. The Evo 9 came out, and with a downpipe and a tune, somebody ran 11.9.
Yeah.
And that was like,
I mean, was it the Hawkeye that had the sprayer for the water
Intercooler
sprayer for the intercooler from the factory?
changing the balance of the center diff front to rear.
Yeah.
Like the vortex generator in the back, auxiliary lights. It had all the buttons. It had all the things.
So I'm going to bring my last one.
All right.
My last one, I will start by saying that it's outside of everything we've been talking about. And that is, it is a Mark II Volkswagen GTI 16 valve, specifically 1989 to 1991, right? 92. Okay, here's why. This just goes for the bang for the buck thing, right? It is under 2,000 pounds in race set. That means with a full cage, you're under 2,000 pounds. The 16 valve engine is about 135 horse stock. It is a really, really well-proven recipe. They raced them. I mean, there was a GTI Cup in America. There's GTI Cups all over the world. And it is just a really fun, simple car to drive. I prefer the Mark I as a driver, but the Mark II is just a better chassis. It's a little bit more durable. If you crash a Mark I, the front subframe is integral to the chassis. So you have a bat off and you might write off your you might write off the whole car. The Mark II has it shares parts with the Mark III. If later on you want to swap in an engine, there is a huge list of Lego parts that fit, as well as brakes. You can do junkyard upgrades to that car. That car you can keep running because Volkswagen basically built parts that fit into that all the way until now, right?
The EG of your world.
Yeah, and it has, I want to say this, it was the Miata before the Miata. That and the CRX were two cars that people didn't take seriously in the world of racing and then would get shown up by one on track, right? Those are the cars runoffs, SCCA runoff. That was a car that did really well, right? You go back and you look was it David Wallens from, Grassroots Motorsports? He owned one. Per Schroeder owned one. It is one of those cars that all the people who wrote about racing when we were younger all had one. And I've driven one on track. I've owned one as a personal car. They're great. It's really simple, and they're very, very, very easy to work on comparatively to a lot of the newer stuff. There's no electronics. That's it's electric controlled mechanical CIS injection, which I don't love the CIS part. It's definitely a thumbs down moment. But if you can keep it working, it's kind of fun. It's like Motronic CIS. It's whatever. But that for me, I think is it's outside of what we're talking about in terms of all these other ones. I think show up and you can kind of buy them and they're ready.
Sure.
Right. This might take a little bit more of a week to get it going, but shit, I bought a Mark I in New York and then went directly to Lime Rock with it, and all I did was put R888s on it, which was really dumb because it almost rolled the car.
A little too sticky.
A little too sticky.
A little too sticky, right?
Yeah,
your suspension's not thick enough to
I was almost like a Focus guy who rolls at the autocross.
Oh my God, yeah, classic video. Chris, you had a line in the group chat last night.
I don't remember what I said.
You said I have the data. Only 6 Volkswagens have been raced.
He's I have the data of over 10 years of cars on track in GridLife. Every event, every year, every month, hundreds of cars. 6 Volkswagens.
And my guess is they probably
That's
all.
right.
My guess is recently they probably Mark 7s.
Yeah.
The Mark 7, Mark 7.5.
Great car.
The problem is with
it's low.
The reason I didn't bring it to the list is I think when you look at the German front wheel drive offerings, it's really good.
Yeah.
Right? I would probably pick it over a Mini right? Even though the Mini's also really good and probably a blind spot car.
All
Right?
day, every day,
but-
pick it over a Mini.
But
We've had minis on the track too.
Yeah, and I think like that. I think it's a great one, but I know that it's a hard fight to put that up against the Civic Si, right?
Yeah.
I for what it is.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Not saying that like of all of the modern Volkswagens, everyone I talk to, they're like, yeah, 7.5. I've also never driven one on track, so it's hard for me to speak.
Yeah.
What I'm saying though is like for the pure fun factor, I this is why we like the Fit. The Fit is trying to be and trying to emulate.
It's a Honda Fit with a different kink.
A CRX or an original Golf.
It's an underdog story.
It's an underdog story. One, everyone will root for you. Yeah. You can actually be the slowest person there and still get high fives.
It's an underdog story.
It's an underdog story. But there's also just a rawness. Like that car just has a night, like for a front wheel drive car, it has really good connection to steering. You can feel everything in it really well. You probably could build the whole car for 15 grand.
Right.
Although 16 valves are getting a bit more expensive. It's probably
how much are they? Like
there's one for sale right now for 7 grand in a good color. So like that's like if you found a bad like a black or something that less people are excited about, you could probably pick one up for like
what's a good color?
Montana green.
Oh yeah,
that's
a good one.
Great
that is
color.
a good one.
Yeah. So look, I'm obviously biased to my Volkswagens. You're biased to your Hondas. There can be arguments made both directions, but we don't have a single car in this list that's really even 90s or 80s. And I just think that there is, and I know there's a reason for it.
Yeah, there is a reason for it.
There is a reason for it, but like I don't know. I just, for me, just as a pleasure side, it's like, if I was to pick between a Fit and the GT and like a GTI, I would probably choose the GTI because I enjoy suffering. I realize that the Fit would be such an easier ride, but like I think from a smile level, like there is just something fun about that. Like for you, would you pick that era Honda?
Well, I'm like I like no too much, right? So like I think about safety, and I think about like you know, even with like my like I'm a CRX guy, right? You know, I think about my CRX, I think about a C5 Corvette, I think about us sharing the track, I think about the modern era of tracking, I think about you know, new Supras and big cars and tiny cars.
Just how fast everything's gotten from
all those
tire
types
tech
of things.
alone.
Yeah, like so that's probably like a bias that I shouldn't present, you know, because like I like my
conversation.
Yeah, no, like my CRX, it's like, you know, like shit, I don't want to get hit by somebody else on this track. Yeah. You know, not because I'm worried about getting hit on track, but because of like how far vehicles have come and who you're sharing the space with at this point, right? So it's like if I'm looking at Civics, right? Like I am an EF, you know, I am an EF kid, like through and through. You know, you know, you could probably for 15 grand, you could probably find an EG. You know, you could probably find, you know, an EK. You know, so like that's why like some of the things that I really love and gravitate towards like didn't make the list. Because I'm thinking about this moment in time, which sucks.
Right.
But it's like kind of like, we're vintage racers.
I know, isn't that weird?
Yeah, that's what happened. We're vintage racers.
We're like the guys who are like taking out like their old E-types or whatever.
We're vintage racers.
They are.
So
I'm a mid-range racer.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but that's
you're getting
so like
close.
that. You know that GTI that you're presenting is like it's vintage. That's
I know.
That's a vintage
100%.
class. So, but I would choose like. I would probably choose that car over the Fit, you know, like
from an experience
with all that stuff removed, right? With everything that I just said from a practicality, with everything that you're thinking about for this moment in time, you know, that would be a much. All right.
Well, unfortunately for you guys, because I'm at the end and a lot of my choices have been picked, there's not that much. You only get to choose between the three because it's either Fiesta ST, GD WRX, or the 1990 Mark II
I feel like
Mark
there's
II
some
16
kind of
valves.
tactics that you
I think the
have on
Fiesta
this.
goes on the list.
Yes,
because it's been brought up so many times.
It's right. Like it's like forgotten about. It's like
let's repeat for everybody. So we have the Fit.
Yep.
We have the Twins.
Yep.
We have the
C5.
C5 and the E46. So we're actually now pretty stacked rear wheel drive.
Yeah.
Right. And then we just moved forward the Fiesta ST. So it's another front wheel drive car. So
now we're WRX versus
the vintage racer.
You don't even have to ask me. And I'm not just saying that to go against you as much as I enjoy that.
I would move the WRX forward, not to crush your hopes and dreams.
I get it.
You know, but I think it's a different era for the moment, right? Like it's vintage, you know. Like I wouldn't say, like, somebody asked me, "Hey, I want to get a track car." I wouldn't be like, "Oh, you really need to find like you need to find a 1990, you know, EF hatch because it like had the updated what I did it."
Right.
Like that wouldn't be what I would say, you know. So with that being said, you know, the WRX, because one, it brings diversity to the list.
Yep.
Because there's a lot of fans of all-wheel drive.
A lot of fans.
You know.
And once you fix a few suspension things on it,
it's great.
The car's great.
It's great.
And that's got a wide support.
Crazy
right?
aftermarket.
Yeah, crazy
aftermarket.
One of the biggest.
And I would also argue that the GD also has a recipe.
Yeah.
Like
It does.
so many guys have raced it both on like a very basic level to full blown time attack, like crazy, you know, era. I mean, you think about a lot of the cars we looked at and dreamed about in Super Street in the early days were like time attack STIs. Like the John Otto one.
Bunch of camber up front, big old sway bar in the rear. Like, you could get it to do some stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Okay, so our list as we move into the blind spot right now is not a Volkswagen Golf. So I'm just double checking. I'm just double checking 60 valves off the list.
Almost.
Sorry, dog.
I tried to fit it in. I get your point. Maybe we'll have to do a vintage.
Yeah.
What we call neo vintage.
Yeah.
So it's like the neo vintage track car list.
That could be a really fun one.
Cars built from like 75 to 95.
Yeah, I mean, we open up a Grassroots Motorsports from, you know, 19, you know, or 1999.
Yeah.
And you'll see all these cars.
Because this is what they were racing.
Those are the cars
Those were the original
Which
standard.
is one of the reasons why it's on the list for me, because it has been on my list and I have researched it since 1996.
Right.
Like since
100%.
that era, I have researched racing this car. So like there is a wealth of knowledge right here in my brain.
No, you were rattling
You
it.
have to call Scotto.
Yeah.
That's it.
I was
That's
like
the
about to
knowledge.
start like really lit, and I was like, I'm not gonna go. I can see both of you leaving. You were both disassociating from the conversation.
No, it was like
I was gonna start
step
talking
one,
spring rates,
layer
and I'm like,
one,
all right, I'm out.
Layer
I'm
two,
out.
layer three,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, is he gonna step in a layer four? Is he going that deep?
I told Nick, I was like, all right, the hill I'm dying on today is a Mark II GTI 16 valve. But yeah, all right. All right, so here's our list. We have C5 Corvette. We have Honda Fit. I just love saying those back to back. And then we have FRS/BRZ, aka the Twins.
Yep.
We have the GD WRX, which spans the 2002 to 2007 span. And then we have the Fiesta ST. And last but not least, we have
E46.
E46.
330.
330i, which is important because you can get some pretty...
You can get some bunzo
some
ones.
pretty bunzo E46s out there. So
It's a good looking track day.
that's a good
That
looking
is
track
actually
day.
a
That's like not
great
bad.
track.
Isn't that a good looking track
That's
day?
a great track
Yeah,
day.
like think about the
I mean,
session.
we all know the GD's going home on a AAA flatbed, but
Yeah.
it's still a fun
And the
day.
Corvette's lapping everybody.
No, it's a
But-
good looking track
Or
day.
sending it
That's a
into
good,
the wall.
That's a good.
Right.
That's a good looking intermediate session.
I think
you know?
so.
Like
That's decent. So
Yeah.
now we break out the blind spots. So the folks on Patreon have put together their list of things that we tend to miss. And I've actually found this to be super useful. By the way, if you don't belong to the Patreon, go join. If this like 2.5 hour or the other 3 hour shows is not enough, which all of you are complaining we should do a 5 hour show, you just get more on the Patreon, but you also get to be involved in the background of making shows like this. Okay. Jackson B says vintage racing stuff. He's like E21s, Datsun, Celicas, Rabbits. We just had that conversation.
Yeah. And there is one answer for all of those that
By the way,
crushes them all.
He said, when he said this, I mean, this is like, I should add him as a friend somewhere. He said, something you can throw a Weber or two on for that nasty 100 horsepower at the crank. This man has been reading my diary.
Yeah.
This is a Scotto fan through and through. There's one answer for that.
Yeah.
And it crushes everyone else. Lotus Elan.
By the way, Jared, aka Chapel, who we talked about earlier, or we talked about on the Patreon special, he's like 15,000. Jeez, that's not a budget. 6,000 is a budget. And you know what?
I agree.
Originally, I was gonna put the number really low, but I do think it starts to kind of be this like it's slightly unrealistic, or you end up only being you're like, yeah, I want a Golf 16 valve. because like you can't buy. You're either buying.
It's just the fit spec class.
No, you start getting into the like, can you search and find a car that cheap?
Yeah.
Like I'm sure I could find a salvaged crash BRZ that I could build back up to make a track car. You could definitely find everything we've said on this list. For example, our C5 Corvette we bought for $5,000.
Yeah.
So that car is possible at $5,000.
But that was kind of a unicorn deal.
Yeah.
But I so hate when you watch YouTubers and they're like, budget build. I bought a 911 off my friend for $6,000. And you're like, yeah, that doesn't exist
That's not
anymore.
real. Yeah.
We bought the Knucklebusters M3. I bought it for $2,000. E36. Like you can't buy that anymore.
Can't
Like,
do
that's
it.
gone.
That's over. Yeah.
So it's like, it's really
And that thing was worked.
yeah, it's really the window of that.
I think it was a good price range because it like gets you to the point where you're like considering things that you can't get.
Yeah.
And then you can really easily come in under with everything on our list.
Yep.
Easily.
You know? So then you talk about budget, you still got to get to the track. Still got to pay for that stuff.
So we got a wild card here. Someone said Lexus IS 250.
Oh.
So that was the manual transmission option, right? You could get the manual in the 250.
I think you could get manual, but that's the thing is that they're kind of tough to find in
Yeah.
manual.
So that seems like a hunt. I don't
Right.
necessarily disagree that would be.
And it's on the heavier side.
Yeah.
Like,
it's
if
on the
you're-
heavier side. Yeah.
If you're looking at that, like just get a Z. Same experience.
Just get a Z. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. On the heavier side.
There's a lot of people in here saying Z's, C4 Corvettes, Mark IV Golf 1.8 turbos.
Not a C4.
No.
Yeah,
Corvette.
C4 is like
Never
a
a C4.
completely different
That's a
suspension.
different
Like
thing,
C5, C6 is like the Corvettes made for.
If you want to spend
for us.
most of your life on the internet learning how crossfire injection works,
Yeah.
get a
Man,
C4.
I forgot
Other than
about that.
that-
I had to learn how to do that just to
Yeah.
help Kyle fix his car.
Yeah.
Let's see what else. We obviously have our Europeans bringing in things like the Renault, like Megane, Clio, things like that. Obviously not
Great
in our
cars.
world. Other people are bringing up the Boxster. We talked about that. Someone here said the Toyota Echo or the JDM Vitz first gen. I don't know much about that car, but they wrote a lot about this, and it actually sounds pretty exciting.
Yeah, that's
because it's a fit size.
it's a fit size
Yeah.
vehicle. Yeah.
Right, so
So,
it's-
yeah.
That's like the whole B spec.
There's a spreadsheet that is put together that tells you every single car that we know of that fits into the Sunday Cup class, Club SC.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so and like where it fits, and it's a ton of cars. Yeah,
Yeah. I got another, someone brought up the RX-8, which the RX-8 is the perfect example for me of like an amazing car. It just needs a different engine.
Yep.
Like that falls into the 944
Or
category
completely
for me.
different gearing.
The RX-8 has been rising in conversation like throughout
Yeah.
my worlds. You know,
It's
currently.
have you driven one?
No.
They are
They're great.
fantastic.
Are
Yeah.
they?
We
Yeah.
we got into this. we got into
kinda
this on
like
the
the way they
driver's
look
car
because
side.
they're
Same.
spooky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like they look like a botched circumcision, but like that's fine. It's like it's just a weird. There's like some foreskin.
What's
There's a lot
this door?
going on. It's
just on one side.
Like an extra. There's like extra flaps. Like
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, boy.
It just looks like something went wrong there.
Yeah.
That being said, I still like they're really really fun to drive. Like
Yeah.
It
Great
just,
chassis.
It's just that it's just
they
the
are-
reliability of the Renesas engine is really problematic.
Yeah, they're in the range cost wise.
Yeah.
Oh, easily.
This is a huge blind spot. I questioned putting it on my list and I just couldn't. But like it was S197 Mustangs.
Yeah. I looked at those.
I have done a lot of track time in those cars and I never liked them. I just didn't. I get that they can be quick. I just didn't enjoy them driving. I remember doing a road trip with Vaughn and we went and did like some track stuff. And I just kept asking him, I'm like, do you really like how this car drives? And he was like, this is one of the best sports cars. I'm like, no, it's not. Like I drive sports cars for a living and write about them. Like I do not enjoy driving this car.
The fit and finish and like how the interior feels is like if Fisher Price tried to make an actual car.
But I'm telling you, people are going to go super hard in the comments because there's an entire group of people who track those. Do
Totally.
you see a lot of them
And they're
on
not-
your side, or is it kind of a different demo?
It's no, we've got Mustangs, but like if the C5 exists on this list, why do you need the Mustang?
Good point.
Exactly.
Good point. I
Like,
agree.
you don't
Because if you want the big V8 power,
No, they check.
you
They,
just get it
they
better
check
on
the same
C5.
box, and like the C5 is clearly a better choice. You would
Yeah.
get a Mustang, and you would track a Mustang because you're a Ford guy. Or
Exactly.
Like you
have to be
like-
that dude.
or you like Mustangs. You
Yep.
know, like otherwise, C5 wins that conversation hands down.
Easily.
Another one, I mentioned this quickly before, but BMW Z3, preferably the 3.0. I think that is like that is another Miata type vehicle. I had that almost on my list, but it's also a vehicle I barely fit in.
Yeah,
Like,
Roadsters don't make it to my Yeah, my thinking.
They're not really
They're like,
in your
they're
realm.
just outside the space.
Yeah, I mean, like, they certainly are sports cars. I just like
You lose a lot of practicality too.
Sheb Garfield says the Mark II GTI Golf, and then he says, "Yes, I'm biased," and then you realize his avatar is a Mark II GTI race car.
Comment how much Scotto paid you.
Yeah, Mini. We talked about that. Here's one that I thought was really interesting, and it made me go do a marketplace hunt last night and then do some research. But it said the 190E, and its base. It says incredible suspension, boring engine, and it's like. I only really know the 190E as the Kazi version, right?
Yeah.
Which is like the 2.3 variant. But I was like, I wonder if, and then I like started reading, and a lot of people say that the 190 is like such an amazing, like just like
great chassis,
like chassis car,
Yeah.
but just doesn't have a good engine. Obviously, that doesn't fit into this group. But I found people who do 2J swaps for them, and then I just was like that. Like I lost like a good hour and a half last night researching because I was like, man, a 190 with a J. That could be pretty good. One of the best sounding engines. Let's see what else we got here. A lot of Hondas are on this list, right?
I'm so glad.
There's a lot of vintage
my
stuff.
Goblin list has not been cracked.
There's a lot of Hondas are on here. FC, FBRX7. I think that fits into what we're saying. The Neo. That's our Neo vintage.
Yeah.
Kind of class. Someone brought this up and I went and looked at it because I actually thought, man, this actually might not be a bad competitor, and something I don't think anyone's talked about is the Veloster N.
Sure.
Because it's on the cusp.
Yeah.
It's on the cusp. Like, yeah, you can find one for 15,
but it's not going to be a great example.
They're not there yet.
And if you're spending that much, you might as well.
They're not there yet. But like, that's actually like
really fun car.
Really fun car.
We spent some time in them, and it's a very, very like nice handling car, good power.
That's going to be one of those brands that in 10 years from now, you'll see a lot of like Elantra N's and Veloster N's on track because they probably won't keep their resale value.
Absolutely.
And you'll be able to go rip them.
And somebody will make them really cool. Like a group of guys will make them awesome, and then you see the resurgence.
All right, so and here's another one which like I kind of love. John Balser Matthews says the Crown Vic.
So Crown Vic.
Oh my god!
Crown Vic has like kind of the same type of aura as a Fit, right? So like they kind of fit into the same category of like track day clown car a little bit, you know? Yeah.
I mean, I've spent a good amount of time racing Crown Vics as well, and they're fucking great.
Yeah,
they're really fun.
Yeah, we were just talking about that last time. The Taxi Derby,
the Taxi Derby,
obviously Cletus's race.
I've done 3 of the Cletus races, and like I got to race Bristol Motor Speedway in one. And A, it's terrifying, but B, like you really have to be good. Like it teaches you like a lot of stuff. It's a big, heavy, boaty car. You have to be very deliberate and very smooth with your inputs, and you can learn a lot from that.
I just want to bring up a comment that was added about the WRX, and I kind of forgot about this for other regions. Fantastic ice racing car.
Great ice racing car.
And if you live in the north, there is really easy accessibility to ice racing.
Oh, yeah.
And like we talked about this before, having a track car that can blend and do other stuff, or even things that would be fun to go do an autocross with, like seat time, that does actually give the WRX. Because none of the other cars we talked about are that much fun ice racing.
Yeah. And there are a few things that are more fun than ice racing.
I know. It's really
so
good. It's really good. Yeah. All right. Other than that, there's really not much other stuff on the. I feel like we've mentioned. Oh, yeah. This is the other one that was a blind spot. This just is like this car is a blind spot. Full stop.
Yeah.
Like I just never think about this car.
Yeah.
Ever. The Toyota MR2.
It was on my list and then off my list and then back on my list. Yeah.
Again, small car.
Yeah.
I don't really got a chance to drive.
Yeah.
But when I was doing research into this, it definitely shows up on lists.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sport compact car back in the day, they tried to make it like even close to a stock Elise.
Yeah.
And they couldn't.
Yeah.
But very cool looking.
Very
and,
cool,
and it might be really fun. I've never driven one.
Kind of looks like a bar of soap, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, that's what people said. They were like, it's basically an Elise because it's the same engine. And then I read like a review and it said something to the effect of like, it's got all the things about the Elise except for the things that make the Elise great.
Right.
I was like, okay.
There is a guy here locally that in SoCal Drivers Club, he has one that's built, looks sick, looks like an absolute blast. And it's like, makes you kind of think.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the part of the game where we get to make a decision of whether or not anything on the list of the blind sides moves forward and when I say that, it has to take the place of something else. And I want to bring this up because this is a blind side that would normally be the car, which is the Miata MX-5, was on none of our lists. And for the audience, we had a pre-production conversation about putting this all together. It's on Patreon. And originally, we were going to say top 5 track day cars that are not the Miata, because we all thought that the argument was that the Miata would be in first place. The Miata's not on my list. I'm 6'8". It is the dumbest car for me to drive. Also not on Ron's list, because I think you also have a height issue in the car.
Not even that.
You just think
if
it looks
I fit
whack.
it perfectly, still wouldn't pick it.
And it wasn't on your list.
Just because it doesn't need to be. It's already on enough lists.
And right. So like it.
And I wouldn't. I had a NA Miata. You know, like that for a little bit. You know, like if I was gonna buy one, I'd probably buy an NB. You know, but I wouldn't.
Yeah, we had Shark Cart, which was fantastic, but
amazing.
But it also had a supercharger on it.
Yeah,
like which made it was not as much fun without.
What
the
made Shark Cart awesome?
Was
when we
cutting
sawed
off
the body
when
off.
we removed everything that looked like a Miata from it.
This is sick.
Yeah, the number one way to make the Miata cool was to make it not look like a Miata.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, I mean, just because you know that there are people right now listening to this frothing that we are saying that the greatest top 5 cars does not include.
They can froth.
Does not include
please
the
froth.
Miata. All right,
That's fine.
We're moving forward.
Well, wait. You had an argument for the 8th gen Civic SI.
Yes, yeah, the 8th gen
So,
Civic.
so you think the 8th gen deserves a swap out? And I will say,
100%.
I will say, looking through the list of everybody who was in the blind spot, it was constantly repeated. It was on almost everybody's list.
Yes. So I think to not have a Civic on the list, you know,
it is a little crazy.
It's crazy.
It's a little
Do
crazy.
you think if you had to choose between the Civic and the Fit, which one would you choose?
See, this is tough, right? So like I would choose the Fit because it's the spiritual successor to my experience, you know, and it's the cheapest to operate. However, you know, if you want
also, I don't believe I'm saying this out loud, it oddly looks cooler. Which,
then the 8th gen
because the
Civic,
8th gen just an interesting car, like you said.
it's just a small Honda Odyssey.
yeah.
It's what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but you know, the Civic is flexible, right? Like you can wheel to wheel it. You know the K,
Right.
it's got the K motor, right? Like
You can really grow into it.
yeah, you know, like it's.
Are you a big K motor fan as a Honda guy?
I don't have any cars that have a K motor.
I feel like it's the LS of Honda engines, and
It's the LS
and I don't say that like
It's like the LS of everything.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
like it's the LS of small motors, but
Yeah.
it just doesn't sound good to me, which is a huge part of the experience.
Yeah, I'm a B series.
Yeah,
Oh,
Guy.
B-Series is
full
great.
support.
Yeah,
that's
so
cool.
so yeah, like the CRX I'm building is B series,
Ooh,
you know.
nice.
So
Nice.
and
So sick.
that's my build, right? And then I'm taking the B series that I had in my track car and doing like a full. If I was going to do it again,
Right.
in 2002, I'd do it like this, and that's my final boss. For
All right, so you're making the argument that 8th gen should be on the list, but instead of what?
instead
is
of the
it?
Fiesta, 100%. Like if
So
you,
the Fiesta is unfortunately.
Yeah.
By the way, I do want to point out. So the Fiesta is the bridesmaid, like always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
it was a
because it
sympathy
has been
vote.
invited. It has been invited to each of our lists,
I gave
but
it
it
a-
doesn't get to come
it
to
was
the
a,
honeymoon
it was
suite.
it was a sympathy vote, you know, like even on my list, I was thinking about it and I was like, Focus ST, Fiesta ST. I was like, I like smaller stuff.
Yeah.
Fiesta.
Fiesta ST is a way better car.
Way
than
better.
Focus ST.
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like not even close.
So
Like,
it was a sympathy vote, you know, from the rip. And it sounds like it might have been a sympathy vote across the board.
I think it actually, in my mind, I thought it was going to be a blind spot for everybody. So I was surprised to hear you say it. Less surprised for you to say it. We obviously have rally background, so it's a car that has value there. But it was just kind of like a fun, whippable car, really good price, and not a Honda.
So that's why I put it on my list because I like people forgot about it. you
Totally.
know, like,
I mean, look, if I had so let's just play the game. So SI or ST.
SI, 100%.
SI.
Yeah.
I do.
Begrudgingly, because I would rather have the RSX, but still,
It was-
between those two, yes. The SI and the RSX are similar.
If you had to
enough.
choose,
Motor Trend's car of the year.
if you had to choose between the SI and the RSX, what would it be for you?
SI. Yeah, because like the RSX, like aesthetically, you know, like
I think the RSX is a better looking car.
Way
than the
better
SI.
looking car.
I mean, the SI, to his point,
Yeah.
it looked. You know what the SI looks like is you took a photo of the Odyssey and you were in Photoshop and you grabbed the wrong thing and whoa, you like and it just like squashed it. That's kind of what it looks like.
Yeah.
Like you just rescaled it by mistake.
Just because of the angles and the like
Headlights.
Yeah, the
Headlights
yeah.
and the slope of the hood and the front bumper.
Yeah.
Very
I
similar
remember when
design
that car
language.
came out, looking at it and being like, "How the mighty have fallen."
Yeah.
Like,
Well, it was a little bit spaceship.
Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
I'm out.
Design is just bored.
I'm out.
Do we want to then have the argument of RSX or SI?
You know my answer.
I think amongst the Honda community, they're similar, right? So
Yeah.
like, 8th gen, it's like that's the best of what we can,
Yeah.
what you can get in that price range.
Sure.
But like you can't lose
So here's the thing. If I had to vote,
body
'cause
panels.
You guys are on the two sides.
replaceable parts,
Yeah.
bits and pieces, odds and ends. The RSX is going to be more expensive.
I never see RSXs on the road anymore.
Yeah, much more difficult, in that regard. And like you're going to have to hunt for one.
So right now it's a tiebreaker. You guys are both on the side. I obviously don't have much experience in either. I'm going to take his argument. I'm going to live in a moderator world here. His argument for
That's
the
fair.
panels and that it was ubiquitous in the list on Patreon.
Yep.
So we'll move to SI. Okay, so this gives us our final list, right? I have it here so I don't make any mistakes. We have, going into the final round, the Ultimate Rumble, the Corvette C5, the E46 330i, the Twins, aka the FRS BRZ, the Honda Fit 2nd Gen, the Subaru WRX GD, and the 8th Gen Civic Si, which just bumped out the Fiesta ST.
Yep.
All right. You guys ready to have that conversation?
Good lobby.
Yeah,
Good
well-
lobby. I like it.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back and we'll order these bad boys, rank them. It's the snack intermission brought to you by Vyper Industrial. Today, we have something of substance because our boy Chris said he's actually hungry today. We have Bobo's PB&J Grape. You know how you have like those friends who like you just done like really crazy like illicit stuff with, like, donkey shows in Mexico? That's what Ron is to me, but in the snack world.
In the food game.
Yeah, in the food
Okay,
game. Like
okay.
we have eaten some very questionable things.
I've seen this man make combinations that would make a nun blush.
The look of this is like a solid 2 out of 10.
This is pretty dense. It's dense.
It's dense.
It's dense. So
Yeah. I will say this though.
close.
Yeah.
It's one of those snacks that the more you chew, the better it gets.
I wish it went harder on the J than the PB.
you want more filling. Yeah, you want like a little bit more in it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Not bad though.
Hit it with a score. You start out of 10.
Out of 10, it's a 7.
7?
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm going to hit it with like a 5.
Yeah. I'm there on a 5 too. Man, now that I like read the family story, I want to give them like at least a 6.5.
No, I mean, see, there you go.
I'll bump it up to a 5.5.
Yeah, okay.
It's a Cliff Bar for 8-year-olds.
I actually like I haven't eaten today, so like it's good from a substance side. It just doesn't it doesn't really check the snack part.
Sure.
Yeah. So well, since you enjoyed it so much, you get the extra one. You can save that for later. Anyway, back to the show. All right, the time has come. We got to rank them. So first up is Something's Gotta Die. We got 6 things on the list. There can only be 5. So what is your what I'm gonna start this. You start first. What would you kill?
Okay. Might be controversial.
Yep.
I would kill off the Twins.
Wow.
Off of this list, I don't see a reason for them to be on if you have access to the 330i and the C5. Only because the first gen, the limitations on the first gen. If this was a second gen, like it would beat out the E46 to me. But as we sit right now, I think you would have a lot more fun. You would have like an equally cool, if not cooler looking car in the E46. And a C5's not leaving. So like, why have that much of the kind of the same thing,
What would you kill? You get to kill anything on the list.
Probably kill the WRX.
You'd kill the WRX, okay?
Yeah.
Why?
Complexity, once again, yeah, just because if we're talking about track day things, right? You track a WRX because you love WRXs.
Yeah.
Right? You don't necessarily get a WRX because you really want to track.
That's fair.
So
I'd kill the SI because I've driven the Fit, but I have driven the SI too because I probably was on the press launch. But I don't know, neither of them really stand out to me. I might not have had like a full track day with either of them. But from you explaining the two, if I had to pick between the two, I would go Fit. And I just feel like killing off an all-wheel drive car on a track, I don't know. I just feel like they're too similar. Like you would never own either. Do you know what I'm saying? Like if you're looking at this list and you're saying one of these cars might speak to me, I would say that the E46 and the C5 are completely different cars, right? It's a real drive sedan. Even if it's a two-door, it's a sedan in base versus a proper sports car format transaxle.
Totally.
I guess you would say the BRZ, sort of also like sports car, but like way smaller, definitely more of a momentum car. It's pretty much a roadster with a roof. Yeah. Right? Lives into, smaller footprint. Again, I like all-wheel drive cars. That Subaru does that for me. To me, the two that feel like they're in competition is like the Fit to me seems like a lighter, more chuckable version of the SI. But you could correct me because you have way more experience than them.
If you were presented with the two as like a track day car, the novelty of the Fit and the practicality, like if you spreadsheeted it, there's no way you'd choose the Fit over the SI, right? Factory LSD, K motor, one of the best motors of our era.
Huge aftermarket.
I don't know if I'd say best one of the era, but keep going.
Okay,
good for making power.
One of the most popular motors
That's
of
for true.
our era.
That is for true. That is for true. That is for
so
true.
a good version of that, of that motor, right? So, and intended to be a sporty version of the economy car that it's based off of.
It arguably is a performance variant.
Right, there is a Fit Sport, but that's just a lip and a spoiler, right? So it's like, there's nothing. Now, like a driving experience wise, the Fit I enjoy more because it feels like an EF to me, right? So that's a tough thing, right?
And that's what I think attracts me to it, because to me, before we were talking about the spiritual successor, the Fit to me feels closest to the Mark II Golf 16 valve that you wouldn't let me put on the list.
It is.
So I would protect the Fit in that fight, because I think that's the experience. If I want to take a front wheel drive car out on track, I want to go enjoy it being really lightweight and chuckable. I'm not trying to do C5 things in it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I think at a certain point, like, people try to push front wheel drive cars too far. It's like, just get a different car.
The Civic is still lightweight and chuckable.
Yeah, I would say the Fit has to stay because it is the most truly budget out of all of the ones on the list.
It is the most truly budget.
Yeah, and I think it has...
And running it in the long term.
I also think it has way more of a future. I think that there's this world where, like, you go back and listen to this podcast 5 years from now, and a bunch of these cars don't appear on the list anymore, but the Fit kind of still does.
The Fit might stay.
Because I think other things may work. Also, there's no new cars that are great, so it's probably just BRCs and Fits.
It's just the list stays the same.
If you're thinking about that, I would say that, like, the Civic would remain on that list because the Fit doesn't exist anymore, right? It only made it 3 gens, and now it's done. Now it's an HRV.
Yeah. All right, so we got to kill something. So all three of us have said something different. So you said kill the twins.
I still think it's the twins.
You said kill the GD. Yeah. I said kill the SI.
Yeah.
Does anyone feel closer to someone else's choice here? We can get into voting.
I'll say one more thing about the twins is that I think you're capped on progression very quickly.
Because of that engine. Without having to do a swap.
Without having to turbo it or do a swap or just spending a lot of money on it.
Interesting, yeah.
So as far as front wheel drive cars, we have the Fit and we've got the SI.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. Kind of both sides of the spectrum.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
I mean, they're so similar. Honestly.
Okay, so here, if you had to choose between
I had to
kill the Subaru or kill the SI, what would you do?
I'd kill the SI.
Okay.
Because the Fit gets you a lot of the same type of things. The Subaru, very regional, of course. But the second it rains on track, you're smoking everybody, right? Usability, anywhere where it does have a lot of winter time, way more usable, right? It's a great daily.
By the way, I did do one lap of America in an STI.
Yeah.
And it's when it rains, that you're the number one car out there.
Like having a just so the representing diversity of preference too, right? That's all drivetrains if that remains.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I do.
That's true.
I do think. I mean, I already made the argument of like Hondas all have this similar soul, right? Like,
Yeah.
just, like in regards to the way that they feel. And
So you're
like
still getting it one way or another.
you're still getting it, right?
Yeah.
You know, so
And that's not an easy decision. Like
it feels like a shame that like an SI doesn't make it on
know.
the list,
Yeah.
right? You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
like
Okay, so let's talk about his. So, or let's do the two of us. Would you kill the twins or would you kill the WRX?
that's a tough one too. Like I think that the twins are going to be like very pervasive in the culture for tracking, you know, like moving forward.
Absolutely.
I think they are going to be a absolutely dominant chassis 10 years from now. So like that's
And I don't disagree with that. I just think in our current rule set, with everything else presented, that's where we are today. The second that the most recent gen car becomes available, sub 15K, forget it. It's
Okay, so you would kill you wouldn't kill the twins.
No,
you'd actually kill the SI
I don't
in that
think,
conversation.
Yeah, in that conversation, I think I would. I don't think.
Damn.
Okay, so
Yeah.
so in that math between this is kind of gets I don't know if this math makes perfect sense, but you want to kill the WRX, you want to kill the twins.
Yeah.
And I would probably argue to keep. I think I'd argue to keep the twins, because even though, like, I mean, I just think that, and it was on my list to begin with as well. I think for the same reason as he does.
I mean-
It's the last of a generation of analog cars, and they're still making them right now. Like, realize the Gen 2 car, the parts are interchangeable.
Yeah.
So it's like you have a car that is still, you could still go buy new
Yeah.
parts for at a dealership, and that may continue for another couple of years.
There's a GLTC car running Gen 2 motor, Gen 1 chassis, doing
Right.
very
Which is cool.
well.
And
You
I
know,
will
like-
say they do look really cool. And again, like I guess I do have to agree that the twins will make you a better driver than a GD would.
I killed the SI once when we did my list in the first place because the twins and the
Can't
fit,
kill it twice.
the twins and the fit went forward. You
Yeah.
know? So like
True.
So in that conversation, no one saved the SI. So I think it now becomes, so we lose the SI. Do you and I both agree of all the cars to lose, we lose the SI?
No, I think.
I mean, so I've been arguing for the intention of the SI, right? Like the reality is like I'm a Honda guy and it hasn't been in my actual consideration for a very long time,
Right.
because you know my heart kind of like stayed around, you know, the fourth gen, fifth gen,
Sure.
sixth
Right.
gen era.
Okay, so-
you know, so
So if we can't figure this out through
Yeah.
through this weird math I tried to put together, because this doesn't work in a traditional voting because it's the sixth place. Let's look at this and say, what car is sixth place? If we just did 1 out of 6, what car is the bottom of the list from the group? What would you put? Like if you were to do a ranking of this current ranking, what would be last place for you? Because I mean that's basically what the car you cut is.
I mean, same answer.
Which
the
is
twins.
The twins. Okay, so twins is at the bottom for you.
at the bottom.
Yeah. But again, like I've spent so much time with the WRX and I know how fun it is in any other conditions, like outside of the track too. I know that doesn't count towards this conversation, but
This is why you need a gridded notebook.
yeah. This is see. This is why you need.
a phone can't do this. Yeah.
All right.
Still not drawing straight lines, but
Yeah.
still.
So
It's
for
fine.
me, I have the SI at the bottom, and you have the WRX at the bottom.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's just ask, where do we think? Let's look at the opposite of the SI, or not the opposite, but the alternative, which is the fit. Where does the fit live on the list? Like, where does it live for you?
We're somewhere around the middle. Because
Right,
it's
so let's
not
just say
it's not like an absolute must have, but I really like it that it's
Yeah.
an entry for almost anybody into having a lot of fun on track.
Okay, so let's just say, and I say the same. I think it's like position 4,
Yeah,
3.
yeah.
Right. Where does it live for you?
I mean, it's hard, right? Because like in some lists, I'd put the SI really high up at the top, right? But I don't think I'd put the fit at the top. You know,
See, this is what I was trying to get to.
Yeah,
is like
'cause, like-
I want the fit on the list, but the fit's not number 1.
No, I'd put the SI, like if I was between those two, it's like you gotta put one of these two in number 1. I'd put the SI in number 1. You know, just because of the practicality of everything that I know about like what tracking is like, right? The Fit like gets this like kind of fun.
It's a hero. Like, it's like an underdog hero.
It's bordering on novelty.
It's like
though.
that shouldn't do that. That shouldn't be like that. That shouldn't be that much fun, right? The SI is like
but again, this is the
intended.
same reason. That's why I'm like it's the modern Miata because like I think that the Miata is a great car. I think that the Fit's a great car, but I also think that they get more credit than maybe due because they sort of they don't fit the traditional mold of like a race car or a sports car to like the average automotive person, you know.
I guess also out of everything on this list, it is the one thing that isn't intended to be a performance car.
No. I mean, you
that is very true.
Yeah, can put camber in the rear.
Whoa, that's crazy. Wow, solid beam.
Wait, really?
Yeah, like it doesn't. Yeah, it's.
I mean, that's like that's like a Mark II 16.
Yeah, it's like the way.
Old trailing.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like
you can, but it's difficult, right? It's not like you can get a kit for it.
Pressure's on.
I know.
Are we about to kill the Fit?
I mean, that it almost seems like this. I
think we might be killing the Fit
with the SI as we talk through it.
Yeah.
That at the end of the day, the Fit is a really great novelty. It deserves to have been in conversation as long as
it put up a great fight.
It put up a great fight. But if you're really going at it and you're saying you have money to go build one track car, and you're not going to build.
When you put it that way,
it's different. It's different if you were going to go race in like the Spec Fit series,
sure,
because then there's a reason to go. But if you're just going to your local track and you're about to get smoked by GT3 RSs going around, would you rather be in a Fit or would you rather be in the SI? And I asked you, I don't have the experience.
No, you'd be in the SI.
Yeah.
Right. So like you're coming to the, you know, like in the Fit, right? You kind of need to be with your peers too, you know, and like that's what makes it really fun as well.
Right.
That's
so
a
the
great
minute
point.
you're not driving it in a spec series, and maybe this is where
that could all of a sudden be not fun
Right,
at
this
all.
is
Because
where-
on a regular track day, you're not going to have a bunch
Right.
of other Fits.
And
You'll
this-
have any one of these.
Right. And this is where, like, I think the romantic idea of the Fit starts to fade
Yeah.
when you show up to a track day and there are no other Fits.
It's still a really great choice.
Yes. Yeah.
You
Which
know?
is,
Like,
it's made it to the final round.
And it's
Yeah,
a sub 10K king.
it's still a really, really great choice.
Yeah.
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 But if
Do you have a problem putting it in last place
No.
and killing it? Do you have a problem putting it in last place and killing it?
if the SI remains, I mean, I my heart's breaking for both.
I know.
Of them, you know,
I know.
like yeah.
If you were to choose between the Fit and the Twins on the final list, would you keep the Fit above the Twins?
No.
Right. Okay. I think we can make it official.
yeah.
The Fit has been removed and struck from the list.
Again, very impressive fight for what
It also
is.
went from you and I both were like, yeah, it's in third place, third or fourth, to no, it's out.
You
You,
put it
never
in-
know with these things.
I
But you
think
have
it-
the conversation and you got to think through the
Yeah,
pieces.
it's super important to put it in context.
All right, so we now have come down. We've knocked out the Fit. We're in our top 5. What's in 5th place? What is the thing that would have also gotten knocked out? It seems like the Twins was on your list.
WRX.
WRX was on your
Yeah,
list.
still.
So I think now it's just a conversation of WRX or Twin.
That's a really hard one because it depends on where you are. But I think for most of the country, you would put the GD last.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so I mean, you guys outvote me.
Yeah.
I would put the GD above the Twins, but that's only
It
again.
pains me. It pains me because I love the GD.
I just think
so
it's an
much time in it.
all-around more fun car.
It is.
It's more fun, stoplight to stoplight.
Yeah.
It's more fun, like it. Like,
But
although, I
again-
don't know. The Twins also a really fun car. They're both really good.
Again, like in the Twins, if you start out in those and then you get money or you get a better car, a bigger car, you're going to be more
I
well
will.
equipped.
I will say one thing though, just from a track day side, it's way easier to get all your shit in a GD to the track.
That's true.
You can
For
fit
sure.
a spare set of
That's
wheels
true.
in the
Yep.
back. You
can fit a lot.
You have a trunk space for toolbox, jack, all of that. There's very little room in the.
I think
in
that I think
in
of the
VRC.
Twins because they're like they sit in this space that's just below the totality of their potential. You know, you're like, man, this is good, not great.
Yeah.
Because it's good, not great. It's like getting a little bit more of a ding than it deserves because like what else checks the boxes that those cars bring to the table?
Nothing. anymore.
Nothing. Like nothing, right? So what else? I mean, WRX kind of like sits in its own world
and
too.
purely
but,
on the fact that you can do twice as many laps stress-free
Yeah.
in the Twins versus the WRX.
but
is
Which
just-
like-
we've done. I mean, we have beaten the hell out of that car.
my
But just the
God,
fact that they
beat the
that they
snot
made
out of
it,
it.
right? That it
Yeah.
that it got made, right? The
Yeah.
WRX, like you know, as it exists, you know,
it
like
had
as
a
an
very
Impreza,
strong case.
right? And
it
Impreza is
still
just
does.
a car.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but you know, like when it you know, that was the hot version, you know, of the Impreza, right? The twins are just like
their own thing.
We're making this.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that should be commended. And
that's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's the reason why it made it onto the greatest driver's car list as well.
Yeah.
Of a certain era, because like
it's one of the only currently made cars that gives you that spirit.
It's one of the only really good analog sports cars that's affordable that you can buy without having to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to buy an analog 911.
Yep.
So, okay. All right. But so we all feel good though. The twins are in fourth.
I'm cool with that.
Repair that too.
I gotta think.
Right, so
I gotta think about where the other things.
The rest of the context.
The rest of the context.
Right. So the rest of the context. So you've got the C5. You have the E46.
I'd put the C5 in fourth.
Oh, that's going to be a fight. I don't think the C5 is number one, but I don't think it's number four.
It can't be four. Oh, it can't be four.
Like think about the appeal, too, right? So like the C5 is in consideration with us because we've driven it all, right?
Yeah.
Like we've experienced all that stuff and we're like, okay, and we're of a certain age, we're like, all right, I guess Corvettes, right? Yeah. Like think about the headspace that you would have been in 15 years ago, and even 10 years ago, and thinking about that car, would you consider it even though you knew what it was capable of?
Well, actually, no, 15 years ago I would have, because so even though I am wearing a Heartbeat of America t-shirt right now.
You actually are.
Shout out to Heatwave for the collab. But I was not a Corvette person. I was a German car person.
I'm still not.
Didn't really love Corvettes. I will say, when I was a little kid, I loved the Corvette. But I loved like the Stingray, the original. Yeah,
we loved
that era.
That
right?
era.
And I loved Corvettes when I was younger. My grandfather had one. It really is one of the cars that got me into cars.
I almost bought a C4 when I was young.
But as I got older, I was very much on the track to like want to buy a 911. Like that was the car for me. Corvettes kind of fell into this weird world. We all know all the memes and the jokes about Corvette guys. And then I drove the C6. And I drove the C6 multiple times side by side with 911s. And I would, as a journalist, I would get out and be annoyed that I had to say that the Corvette was a more fun drive, a better drive. Or the number one thing I used to say about it was more track ready. Yeah. Like I would get into a 911 that all of a sudden pushed into a corner, felt soft, where the Corvette didn't feel soft. And like, I'm talking C6 because I was a generation, I was a journalist, but like C5's similar-esque in a lot of ways. We had a C5 at Hoonigan that was like a yard car, like super fun. And you look at it now in the world of drifting, there's a reason why it's become the new go-to car, because it doesn't need an engine swap. It doesn't really need much.
No.
Like it doesn't even really need to be lowered. You do it because you have, like, because it makes it look better.
It's nice with a little more angle, but our yard car had nothing.
Yeah, and it was a ripper.
And it was a ripper.
It took 3 gens of the Corvette to convince us.
Yeah.
Right, like 3 good gens.
Yeah.
Right. So like, and yes, now we're looking back on the C5 and being like, oh shit, I overlooked that for that many years. Right. Like, so, so that's where I think like it belongs on the list, but to go on the top, it just doesn't.
So here's the thing I would say. I think that we don't have to get all the way top, but I would say that the E46 is above the C5.
Yes, 100%.
I just think
E46
that all
has been
around,
cool since day one.
It's been cool since day one. And then my listeners know this. I'm not a BMW guy.
I'm not
just
either.
For whatever it is.
Yeah.
I just don't associate with the brand. But I can't ever deny that they're just great driving cars. Ultimate driving machine. Like there's a reason they claim that. Like they're really good driving cars. There's an amazing aftermarket for it. There's so many people racing them every weekend that if you go out to the track and you have a problem, there's probably someone in the paddock who can help you get a setup straight or whatever, because people have a ton of experience.
Plus, it's nice to drive to the track interior is great.
Yeah.
A bit more usable.
Yeah.
4 doors.
You could get the 4-door. Yeah. So, like to me, I would say that edges out the C5. The other one is that the consumables on the C5 are a lot more expensive.
That is true.
Brakes,
that is true.
Clutch jobs, like everything.
Tires are not cheap.
Tires
are
are not
big
cheap.
tire.
You're running a big tire.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, if you're getting into a budget race car because you have a long experience of racing cars, then you may be able to drive the C5 to its limit. But if you're just getting into it, you're probably not going to have as much fun in the C5 as you would an SI or something else, because like you probably
it's not as accessible.
Well, you're not going to be able to drive it to like its mechanical limit with the size tire it has what it and how
and I will say, from everything I do know about tracking Corvettes, is even when you have them set up really well and a lot of stuff in them, they still have a lot of trouble putting power down. So you do have to pedal a lot.
Yeah.
Versus E46, like you're hammered down all the time.
So we're saying we all agree E46 is above C5.
Yep. Yes.
We don't know where it falls, but we
Yes.
at least know that right now
Yeah.
it lives above that. Do we think in any world the twins live above either the C5 or the E46?
Definitely not above the E46.
All right. Okay.
Not above the
So-
C5 to me.
So the only other car now is the Civic. So it's all about where the Civic slots in to figure out this place. So is the Civic better than the Corvette?
Yes.
No.
This is gonna.
No.
This is where the fight
No.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Oh, no, it can't.
I don't
It-
have
no.
I don't have enough experience in the Civic per se,
Yeah.
but I have more experience in a front wheel drive car on track
Yeah.
than I probably should. I've driven more of them. I mean, that was always Vinny's joke, was Scotto's really fast in production front wheel drive cars. It's like where I excel. We drive like actual touring cars. I'm like, I don't want to push that hard. Front wheel drive, I'm gonna fucking drive this thing on the edge.
Day.
Yeah. But it's not a C5 vet. But that's just from the experience side. On the argument, SI is probably an easier car to own, have more lap time out there.
The SI is the easiest car to own on the whole list.
Right.
Maybe the WRX, right? Like, so, you know, like maybe the WRX.
You're saying in terms of ownership. I'm talking about like track serviceability.
I'm talking about all
the
of it.
whole package.
The whole package, right? Because like what's that?
I would say the twins and the SI are the two easiest cars on the group.
I mean, the SI.
The twins are pretty easy.
The SI has a real back seat. You can.
Oh, okay. That's
I'm talking about the totality.
You're
Yeah.
talking the whole package. I was
whole
talking about
package,
the like
yeah.
consumable side of it, the maintenance side of it, like everything that goes
They're
into
probably
being
pretty.
able to.
They're
go
probably
different.
pretty similar.
Yeah.
You know, I think the SI, right? If I'm you know thinking about the like, I'm thinking about it from the entry point, right?
Right.
Like I want to get a track car. It's my car. You know, like what sacrifices am I making, right? Like what am I balancing out? You know, and again, practical view. You know,
I'm going to go ahead and say, like, I'm going to move forward pretending that the SI is an RSX for me.
Okay. If it was
I would agree.
yeah.
so if it was the RSX,
Because
squint,
yes,
right?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
squint,
yeah.
squint your eyes.
I'm putting my safety squints on.
Yeah, put
One of the-
Vaseline on the lenses.
That's right.
You know?
One of the other
Yeah.
factors is that like once you do start getting fast, I didn't really think about this until now, is like if you do start getting fast and you're fast in a vet, oh, okay, vet guy's fast. If you're fast in a Civic or an RSX, it's like, yo, this dude's a hero.
So-
like this guy's awesome.
that's a great conversation because if we right now went to the track, and I haven't done a track day in a year and a half, of all these cars, I would probably jump in the twins or the SI to go out and turn laps just because it's been a bit.
Sure.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like,
Right.
probably back up and want to get into the C5.
Yeah.
Probably the E46 is the car I'd be most excited to drive there. But
Yeah.
I think like that group, yeah. So that does make a good argument of, you know, if you are more entry level or just mid level, like I think
or just
old.
yeah, or like yeah, just looking for like kind of a more of a balanced weekend, you know, like
Right.
a little bit, right?
Totally.
Like
Because
Yeah.
in the C5, you will probably also smoke your set of tires in a track day or two. Whereas in the
And pads and
in the RSX SI, you're gonna go home and you'll be fine, and then you just go do your next track day again.
but you do get to tell your friends that you race Corvettes, which is either good or bad depending on who
Nobody's
your
gonna
friends are.
care.
I think it's good. I think it's good now, right? Like, but like I don't know, like coming from, you know,
Okay, so
Corvettes were them when I was tracking.
let's flip
Yeah.
the
You
other
know?
way. I don't normally love to run right to the end, but like E46 or SI. Like
E46.
E46.
So like I think we all agree that the E46 is number one.
The E46 is number one.
So we now have to just fill out the middle.
Wow.
We've built the
That's easy.
sandwich. We
That's
got to
great.
fill out the middle. So
Yeah.
E46,
You got like 60.
By the way, I like
going
broke
on here.
every rule of media, which is like I gave away the end midway. Right now, you can just watch the fall off. No one cares about the middle.
But it was
we're gonna keep going.
anticlimactic in a way.
The
anyway.
Corvette fans are going to care about where it falls.
Yeah.
So we got them.
And the Honda fans, which is actually probably a big part of the listening group here. All right, so we have E46 sitting there. We have at the top. We have the what was it? The WRX is at the bottom, right? And then we have the twins above the WRX, and then it's a race for second place, boys. It's like competing against Sebastian Loeb. You're never gonna win.
Wait, because it's top 5, right?
The SI is in second.
So you think the SI is in second? So that's clearly your vote. I right now
where the Corvette lies.
Right
also,
now, for me, the Corvette is in second, but I'm not against being convinced.
There's one more factor. There's one more factor that I just thought of.
If the SI looked like a Volkswagen Golf, it'd be in second place.
The RSX SI on track, the community of people you're going to be hanging out with. I would way rather be hanging out still.
That is true
with the Honda kids
because while the drift community in Corvettes has become cool. I don't know if
anybody
I don't
else,
think that the track community has caught up
because you show up and in the garage, the other Corvette guys are going to be dudes that take it super serious,
right?
And we're like, I'm faster than everybody. I got the most expensive tires. I got this kit. I got this supercharger. Blah blah blah. Damn, yours is stock. Whereas you show up in a Honda and you're on cool wheels, nothing else matters. Like, damn, that shit stands out, good color.
It's a different tribe, right? So that's why I think that the C5 goes further on the list because you know it hasn't. Like Corvettes have been in track days for forever, but that's a different track day.
I was just gonna say that I think the Corvette's biggest problem here is that it's the giant amongst Davids.
Big time. Yeah.
Because it's not expensive. Because you should be having the conversation of do you want a 911 or a C6.
Right.
But because Corvettes didn't keep their resale value.
There's so many of them.
You're not comparing them to like cars.
Yeah.
So like it is the beast amongst all of these cars.
Yep.
Which is like the only reason it's in this group is because it's affordable.
And I think at the end of the day,
if we would have said entry level budget car, we wouldn't have included it in the group because it's like just outside of entry level.
Yeah.
That's actually I think a lot more than that, just outside.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been thinking about this as like first time, like I'm getting a track car. I don't have one. I'm not getting another one.
Right.
I'm not doing a budget one because I'm selling this other one.
Used to be in it, but now it's
I
like
have
a little
budget
expendable.
to get a track car to start.
Yeah.
Let me run the contrary.
Yeah.
Let me run the contrary to that though, real quick. There is something to be said about the lifespan the Corvette could have for you. Meaning you can really grow and progress.
Oh, you could keep it forever.
You could drive that car for 15 years and keep getting more and more into it and do more and more to it. And when you could literally drive it to the point that you win time attack. Like it is a car, it is a chassis that you could build to the highest level.
It is very complete.
Twin turbo, like LS7 swap in that thing.
Yeah, full aero package.
You do a full plywood aero package to that bad boy, and then it's a killer. So,
but then at the end of the day, you're still hanging out with the Corvette guys.
It is rear wheel drive, you know. So I mean, I think where are the twins chilling right now?
Twins are in fourth. So we've got right now it's E46 rear wheel drive at the top, potentially Civic Si front wheel drive in second, and then third place C5 Vet, fourth place the twins rear wheel drive, and then last place all wheel drive WRX.
Here's a weird thing for me, right? So like I think that if the Civic goes second, then the Corvette can go next and the twins can go after. But if the Corvette goes above the Civic, then like I think the twins could like interchange with that too, right? Because if I think about E46,
you think the twins could interchange with what?
I think that
the C5.
Yeah, like I think it could be E46.
I cannot stand for that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I get your argument, but again, we go back to the bang for the buck. Like, man, C5 on track's a good time. And we're not saying this.
And it's a great daily.
While we're not, these obviously aren't people who have a ton of track day experience. But this also, we're not saying this is completely entry level either. Because I think if it was, we would steer everybody probably into a front wheel drive car to get up and get going, right?
Yeah.
So this is like a cost.
Then it's just fit.
Right.
right.
Yeah. Fit cup. So I think we got our answer.
What was the answer?
E46, SI, C5
Vet, twins.
I'll accept that.
Of course you will. You fought that.
Yeah, well,
you still think the SI should be number 1.
I think there's interchangeability in like the order of the list, right? So like you've got like some choices based off of your preference.
Depends on person and
right?
region.
So like you're like I can get a rear wheel drive German.
Did I mention to you this is entirely subjective by 3 idiots? You're one of them.
Yeah. Yes, I do. But I'm thinking for the people.
Yeah.
He's reading the comments right now, like, oh, I can't believe this dude.
I mean, but that's been my position for the last 10 years is to think about.
I get to step away from this and go on the gravel. So you have to go meet your people.
So the last interchangeability that we'll bring up is there any world where the twins is above the C5 Vet? Do you think?
No, not if the Civic is second.
I don't know what that is. It's like he won one.
Yeah.
He won one.
Yeah. He's playing a leverage game.
No, it's just like kind of like order of like choice, right? I'm like thinking about like I'm looking at it like kind of in pairs and then an outlier, right? Because like if we look at that, it's like you have 2 great choices at 1 and 2, right? You know, and then you've got 2 great choices in 3 and 4, and then you have the WRX.
Damn.
Which is
I will not take any more of this slander.
Wow.
I'm not saying it's not a good choice.
You give
but
a
it's
man
number 5.
an inch. You give a man an SI in second place, which is actually an RSX, and he takes him on.
Let's just cut to some beautiful time attacks done in GD.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
GD's right here. Just cut to that and let him remember how good that was in 2005 to
the June Hyper Lemon.
The June Hyper Lemon is exactly what
it's
I was
on the
gonna
list. The fit is not.
Yeah. You know what no one has on their wall is a photo of a fit.
Yeah.
Poster
that's a fucking
on their wall.
Maybe Scotty Bands.
Yeah, true. Band's got one.
Yeah, only as a joke.
Okay. Yeah. So we're locking it in?
I'm good with
Let's
it.
lock it in.
Here it is. I'll read it off from the bottom. In 5th place, we have the Subaru WRX GD. In 4th place, we have the twins, aka the BRZ FRS combo. In 3rd place, we have the heartbeat of America, the Corvette C5. 2nd place, the 8th gen Civic Si. And in 1st place, the BMW E46 330i. That's it. That is the list.
It's strong.
Everyone's like somewhat happy with it. I know you prefer like it just to be all Hondas.
No, I feel good. I mean, like the fit. I think the fit like stayed on the list in the same way that it stays on the track, and the same way that it like that it like rose to that.
Like everybody wants it there, but at the end of the day,
but it's not supposed to be there.
It's never going to finish first.
Everybody wants it there, but it's not supposed to be there, right?
Yeah.
And it's cool because it's not supposed to be there.
Right.
But like this is a good squad.
Yeah, bunch of great honorable mentions. If we missed anything, drop it in the comments. We know you have opinions. Throw your list in. If you want to get involved in the list earlier, and maybe have a little bit more sway, join the Patreon. We have a way bigger fight and argument about that. And also, if you want to listen to our Goblin list, which is just real degenerate track car options.
This was like 1 in the morning, and I'm just being evil.
You don't recommend this to anybody, but it's the things we would build
I
and
would.
run. Yeah, like
this is the would list.
Yeah. So and I said it again, I'll say it 10 times more. Chris, not only thank you for coming, but thanks for everything that you've done with GridLife. It is a huge, amazing part of the community. You guys put on an awesome event, and maybe one day I'll have enough time to like actually race a car in it one day.
I'd love that.
I would love to race in GLTC too, dude. Thank you, huge for the culture.
I got to pitch in an idea too. It involves old Volkswagens, but we'll get to that.
Here we go.
As it should.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you very much. Big thanks to all the partners, and laters. Of all the sunglass companies out there, you might ask, why Heatwave? Aside from them being friends of mine, they just make great shades. Awesome styles, cool collabs, smart tech. They even have extra large sizes for big heads like me. And for those of you wearing this on the job, they make ANSI Z87 spec safety glasses too. But what really attracts me to Heatwave is that they are physically a part of our culture. You will find them everywhere, from King of the Hammers to Formula Drift. You'll see everyone wearing Heatwaves at your local track day event. Damn, you might even turn laps with the co-founder Justin, because they're one of us. So, one more reason to choose Heatwave Visual to fix your face. I'm a tool dork. My obsession might even dwarf my addiction to cars. I love collecting unique and specialty tools, which is how I initially fell in love with Wera. First off, they just make aesthetically pleasing tools. They feel good in your hand, they have a great finish, their sizes are universally color-coded, and they are super strong. In 2 decades, I've never broken a tool from Wera. I wish I could say the same about my other tools. But the thing I like the most about Wera is that they create clever solutions for your wrenching woes, because you need over-engineered tools to work on today's over-engineered cars. So if you're ready to step up your tool game, whether it's the Zyklop ratchet or the Joker wrenches, find them at weratools.com. All anyone wants to talk about nowadays is how great 90s car culture was. But what everyone forgets is how bad our slammed cars rode on crappy lowering springs. At the time, that's all my wallet could muster. But when I finally did step up and get some proper coilovers, I went for KWs and never looked back. I've been running their stuff for over 2 decades now, in everything from my 911 to my RS2. I even have a custom set in my Land Rover Discovery. And yes, that bloody thing does finally run. Anyway, because of my long history with them, I am very excited to announce KW as the newest partner in this whole podcast syndicate thing I'm building. Anyway, check them out, kwsuspensions.com.